GB News, Britain's news channel.
Every night at 11 on GB News, we bring you the next day's stories the day before.
Basically like time travel.
If it's a big story, we'll cover it, guaranteed. But we'll also have some fun along the way.
Big opinions, big laughs. Sometimes big hair.
This is
Headliners, the paper review show that won't send you to sleep like the others will.
11 p.m, 7 nights a week. Join us.
Hello there, I'm Eamon Holmes.
And I'm Isabel Webster.
And we hope you can join us for
Breakfast with Eamon.
And Isabel.
You make me laugh out loud, belly laugh.
Is that important first thing in the morning?
Yeah, absolutely.
And there's me trying to be deadly serious. News is a serious business.
Yeah, I have to rein you in sometimes.
Well, it doesn't stop us laughing at it. It doesn't stop us having an opinion on what's going on.
Yeah.
And it certainly will not stop us reflecting what you think.
Weekdays from 6 to 9:30 on GB News.
I'm Dan Wootton. Join me Monday to Thursday from 9 to 11 for the feistiest and most fun news debate on TV, where free speech reigns. I'll bring you a sharp take on the day's biggest stories, bombshell newsmaker interviews, and A-list guests. And I guarantee you, no spin, no bias, no censorship, and no reason to go to bed. That's Dan Wootton tonight, Monday to Thursdays from 9 on GB News.
Very good morning to you. It's 6 o'clock on Sunday, the 13th of February. This is Breakfast on GB News with Stephen and Anne.
Yes, welcome. We're live across the whole of the UK on both your TV and your radio. Wherever you are in the UK, you can watch us or hear us. Let us know where you are. And of course, take us with you. And remember, you can catch up with everything on the programme via the GB News app. So here's what you are waking up to this morning.
Joe Biden has warned Vladimir Putin that the US would impose swift and severe costs on Russia were it to invade Ukraine. More than a dozen countries have now asked their citizens to leave Ukraine.
Meanwhile, Defence Secretary Ben Wallace has said an attack is highly likely. And in his first interview since becoming the Minister for Brexit Opportunities and Government Efficiency, Jacob Rees-Mogg has outlined his vision for post-Brexit Britain in the Sunday Express. We'll speak to the paper's political editor a bit later on in the programme.
Also coming up for you, it is Valentine's Day tomorrow, but don't worry if you haven't prepared yet. We'll be asking the experts what the right ingredients are to make those sparks fly.
And what's this? It's a baby aardvark.
Oh, what you're up to today, where you are, who you are. We really want to hear from you. Get in touch, gbviews@gbnews.uk, or send us a tweet at gbnews. I'm not quite sure what to make of that aardvark.
No, I don't think anybody is really, but it's quite remarkable that one has been born here in Britain. And there you are, it looks like a dobby.
It really does.
It really
like
does. Yeah, they're amazing
scary.
things.
We were saying yesterday, someone's shutting our studio door very loudly. We need to get some WD-40.
We have to, yeah.
We want to know where you are. We were asking yesterday where you're watching, what you're doing, and to send us some pictures if you can. Just a few more that came in after we came off air yesterday, and keep them coming through today. This is Ben Shatliff, in Whitefield in
Oh,
Manchester.
hello,
Morning
Ben.
to you, Ben.
Hi. And John Barber sent in a picture too. He says, here's my picture watching Stephen and Anne from sunny Folkestone in Kent, with Teddy masked up, of course, and Rover exhausted and waiting to go out with his hat.
Oh, bless. Jackie says, my photo isn't taken from an exotic location, nor from a designer bedroom, but from Thornton. The Bronte birthplace in Thornton, near Bradford, West Yorkshire, is where the Bronte sisters were born and lived before moving to Haworth. P.S. These are my dogs, Lenny, PJ and Princess Leia.
That's a good name, Princess
Love it.
Leia.
Morning to you.
They're rather more picturesque than the aardvark. Alan Addison, who's skipper of the Venture vessel, says, I work in the blustery North Atlantic on a fishing boat. GB News is a breath of fresh air. Great show. Keep up the good work.
Look
oh,
at
there
that.
it is.
I mean,
yes, you see.
I love that. That really is quite something. I was trying to look at that picture earlier on, trying to work out exactly where the North Atlantic is, but
You can't make it out there.
I can't make it out.
As he said, very, very blustery. But wherever you are watching us, it's smashing if you can take a picture and send it in. We feel we're getting to know you as much as hopefully you feel you're getting to know us.
Yes. It is really nice, really important. Anyway, look, let's keep you up to date with the main news this morning. And the Defence Secretary, Ben Wallace, has told The Times the chance of Russia invading Ukraine is highly likely, likening the last-minute Western diplomatic efforts to appeasement, stating there was a whiff of Munich in the air. And
last night, in an hour-long phone call with the Russian leader, US President Joe Biden warned an attack would cause widespread human suffering. Isn't it awful to hear those words? As more countries urge its citizens to leave Ukraine, Labour called for the government to learn lessons from the chaos of the Afghanistan evacuation when helping Britons leave the country.
Well, let's talk to Dr. Tom Packer, lecturer in American Studies at Sussex University. It's good to see you this morning. Look, what are we to make of the diplomatic efforts so far, and how far do we think President Biden is prepared to go to follow through on his threats?
I think he's probably willing to go very far, but not to war. He's being incredibly careful to avoid anything that might make Russian and American troops fight. So he's refusing, for example, it was just announced yesterday they're pulling American trainers out of Ukraine, so there won't be any shooting. But I do think there'll be very severe sanctions if the Russians do invade. I think one question is exactly what they do. A brief military incursion would, I think, get less sanctions than the occupation of the whole of the Ukraine. And one of the issues the US government is wrestling with is the danger that if they impose the same sanctions, almost regardless of what Putin does now, if he does anything, that incentivizes Putin to be even more extreme. So I think there's sort of interesting danger of perverse incentives there.
What do you think of the way President Biden is handling this at the moment, and what do you think Putin makes of him?
I think it's interesting what Putin makes of him. I mean, I think Joe Biden's in a very difficult situation on this. You don't have to be a fan of him to say that. He has been trying to rally a relatively united Western response, but in at least in continental Europe, there's a lot of reluctance to be too tough on Russia. So he's in a very difficult position. As for what Putin thinks of him, it is interesting Putin is doing this now and didn't do this under President Trump. Part of it, I think, has a lot to do with the state of Ukrainian-Russian relations, but I think part of it might be there was always a slight nervousness, particularly as he was demonized for being too pro-Russia, that President Trump's incentives might be to actually start a war. So there might be a certain element of that. But I think, in fairness, I wouldn't want to be in Joe Biden's position on this. He's in a very difficult situation.
Well, I mean, it is diplomatically very difficult for all the main Western countries, and yet President Zelensky, the president of Ukraine, has said this is causing chaos and panic, and that in itself is a friend of our enemy. So if the Ukrainian president wants to keep calm through all of this, why is the West escalating the situation?
Yeah, I think that's a very good question. I think partly his incentives are a bit different, that if it's seen as being a disaster, it makes him quite unpopular within Ukraine. You can already see that in the polling in Ukraine. His nearest opponent is gaining in the polls, who's, frankly, an even more hardline nationalist than him. But but even leaving that all aside, it is an irony of the situation. The Russians are saying nothing much is happening. The Ukrainian government is. There are not lots of the other voices in Ukraine, and the West is trying to make as much fuss as possible. I think part of it is the West is desperate to stop Russia doing it. Why? What Ukraine says, short of giving concessions to Putin, isn't going to make much difference. So he's arguing just calm and keep the economy going. That's the nearest I can see. So I totally agree. That's a very good point. But I think ultimately it's the West is desperate to stop Russia doing it. While short of giving concessions, which would be very politically difficult for him, there's very little President Zelensky can do.
I mean, it seems to have got to the very brink right now. Couldn't diplomacy have started months and months ago and not led to this?
I think that might be what the Russian government is saying. I think one issue, the Russians feel diplomacy isn't achieving anything for them. The Russians, Ukrainians are very far apart. And I think there is also a certain degree, from the Russian point of view, one thing they really want to stop is Ukraine getting too close to NATO. And just by doing this and increasing the chances of military incursion, it's actually having a direct effect, which diplomacy couldn't have stopped. I mean, I think if there's a deal to be done, they could do the deal. In that sense, I don't think diplomacy is too late. But the question is there one? I'm a bit sceptical.
Oh, yeah, I mean, there are various options on the table. I mean, there's trying to get the Minsk Accord from, 2014 sort of properly acted upon, which may appease Russia. There's the idea of Ukraine becoming a neutral state, which, again, would probably be enough to ease Russia. I mean, do we know where the blockage in those types of areas coming from? Is it that Ukraine doesn't want to do it or the international community doesn't want to do it?
I think there's a bit of both. So I think it's very difficult, like the Russian government, the Ukrainian government has political requirements. And both restoring the Minsk Accord is politically difficult and giving up on joining NATO, certainly giving up on NATO and the EU, which have become this great rallying force for the Ukrainian right, for the more nationalist forces within Ukraine. On the other hand, I think there's a big problem. But even if you look at the polling, for example, there isn't that much enthusiasm for war and even for sending in weapons. But if Biden and NATO made declarations Ukraine won't join, which is one of the things that Russia is asking for, that would then, I think, in many respects be seen, as we saw with Mr. Wallace today, as appeasement and another Munich. And so it's quite politically difficult for the West to make those kind of concessions from their own internal point of view, particularly for Joe Biden. And one of the problems is there was massive hype, I think is a fair term, the idea that Trump was far too pro-Russian when he was president. So Putin gives guarantees like that. The Republicans will hold it, Biden will hold it around him till the month comes Sunday that he's the one who gave Russia all these concessions. So everyone here is in a dicey political situation. And probably somebody at least one person is going to have to be politically embarrassed if we're to avoid some kind of war.
Gosh, I wonder which. Yeah. What is your money on? Who is your money on, Tom? Which is going to be embarrassed?
I think if I was forced to guess at this stage, the West won't give any concessions. Russia will do some kind of very significant but not overwhelming incursion in Ukraine, and then the status quo will restore itself. I don't think that's an ideal scenario for some kind of sanctions will be imposed, but I think a scenario that makes it difficult for Ukraine to join NATO without getting Russia completely bogged down in a long-term war is probably what suits everyone's incentives. So it's probably what's going to happen. It's very unpredictable. Like, the intelligence appears to show that Mr. Putin has already declared war. Obviously, he could stop at any point. So I think there's a lot of different scenarios that could happen.
Oh, that's really interesting. Dr. Tom Packer from Sussex University. Thank you. Really good to talk to you.
Thank you.
I wonder what a President Trump would do in these circumstances. It could be either, couldn't it? He could have said something fiery and confrontational, or he could say, "Oh, I love the Russians. I get on with them so well," and and maybe that would actually do the trick as well. So who knows?
Maybe. Of course, he was no fan of NATO, was he?
No,
President Trump?
no, very much not.
NATO argument, really.
Interesting, isn't it? Just hope it doesn't, get worse.
Let's hope not. Let's take you through the latest headlines then this morning. The Prime Minister will leave London this week, insisting he's getting on with the job while facing questions from police investigating alleged lockdown breaches. Number 10 says he's going to start the week in Scotland at a manufacturing site before heading to an oncology centre in the northwest of England.
The Mayor of London has pledged to oppose the appointment of a new Metropolitan Police Chief unless they have a robust plan to deal with the cultural problems at the force. Writing in The Observer, Sadiq Khan says he's deeply concerned that public trust in the country's biggest force has been shattered by a series of scandals.
7 people have been rescued after a mezzanine floor collapsed last night at the 2 More Years pub in East London. Ambulance crews treated 13 people and took 4 to hospital. 3 have potentially serious injuries.
Fully vaccinated travellers heading to France no longer have to take a coronavirus test before departure. The travel rules have been eased just in time for the half-term holidays, with many holiday makers expected to head to French ski resorts. (13:06). The shortage of HGV drivers in Britain has caused chaos across the nation.
But new figures from Logistics UK show the pressure may be easing slightly. Figures from the trade body show that the shortage is about 85,000, down from 100,000 in October.
New rules implemented in November mean that drivers can take their test in an articulated lorry without having to first pass in a rigid lorry. Our Yorkshire reporter Anna Riley spoke to a driver who recently passed the new test.
Queues at the petrol pumps, food shortages and the rising cost of goods all put the shortage of HGV drivers in the national spotlight last year. The lack of drivers has been blamed on many things, including Brexit, the pandemic and pay and conditions in the industry. But according to the Road Haulage Association, the biggest reason for the shortfall is retirement. In a bid to get new drivers on the road, the government changed the rules last November to allow car drivers to take their test in an articulated lorry without first having to pass in a rigid lorry. This driver in Dewsbury is among the first to have passed his HGV test straight from a car licence at the Fleetmaster Training Centre.
Felt extremely different to driving a car. This vehicle's about 15 metres long, it's 44 tonnes in weight and it's 13'7" high. I had to consider things like lampposts, trees, bridges that we couldn't go under, the length of it, keep my eye in the mirrors to check that I wasn't going to hit anything, pedestrians. It was nothing like driving a car. However, it's automatic, technically it's not difficult to drive, it's just the understanding. And these people were great, they taught me. I listened to what they said and I found I could do it. And after a few hours, it wasn't straight away, after a few hours, it was possible. I've really, really enjoyed it.
Typically, it takes around 12 weeks of theory and practical training to test completion and costs between £2,500 and £3,000 here at Fleetmaster. And the company have seen a real interest in the new scheme.
We are getting numerous more women getting involved. We're getting people from all sorts of different backgrounds, all sorts of different ages, different experiences, whether it be a completely new car driver to somebody in the late 50s, 60s that have always fancied doing it, and now they just thought, now's the time to be getting on with it.
As well as this scheme, the government announced it would train up to 4,000 people as new HGV drivers, increase testing capacity and encourage retired drivers back to the industry. Salaries have also increased to around £30,000 for the job, but there's also been pushback on the industry to improve working conditions.
We do need to attract more women, more younger drivers. The way that we do that is for the industry to promote itself better, to say that, to become an HGV driver, it's not a dirty job, it's a very, very well paid and highly skilled job. And that message needs to come from the industry.
And I even had a go at reversing one of these lorries and just about managed to stay within the cones.
Forwards is a lot easier than backwards. I've got a car licence myself and I can say it's a lot harder than it looks. So credit to anyone that's passed their test straight from a car driving licence to being in this 44-tonne truck Arctic. Anna Riley for GB News in Dewsbury.
Oh, I wanted to see her drive it though.
Good, Anna. I love that. It'd be great to have a go. I'd love to have a go.
Terrifying. I've always wanted one of those big big cars.
Have you?
Especially because when you do a lot of motorway driving, you just want something big. In the end, I got one, and I'm scared to death of it.
Give over.
No, I hate reversing in it. The idea of parking is a nightmare. It's huge.
Oh.
It's environmentally friendly. It's a hybrid, but it's still, well, you know, just for those who say, oh, gas guzzler, it's not a gas guzzler, but it is big, and I'm terrified of it. I could never drive an HGV.
No. I'd like to have a go. But there's something about all of that, isn't it? I remember when I was a radio reporter, it was a very, very long time ago.
Yeah.
And there was near the radio station, there was a big fire engine at about 5:30 in the morning. And so I went around with my microphone and they said, oh yeah, we can't touch anything, just go and sit in the cab.
Ooh.
And I was about 22 and I was so excited.
What, just sitting it? You didn't drive it?
No, just to sit in it.
Oh.
It was great. It was a big fire engine.
Well, this country needs drivers, so there you are. That's what you can do the rest of the day. Is that right?
Yes,
Good.
I'll give it a whirl. Okay, stay off the roads. Stay with us. We've got plenty more still to come for you, including a relationship psychologist.
Because it's Valentine's tomorrow?
Yes. So send in your questions. We'll try and sort you out ahead of tomorrow. Here's the weather. Well, the UK is looking very unsettled as heavy, persistent rain and strong winds spread across the country. And these are the details for you. In the southwest, a very wet morning and the rain will continue through to lunchtime. Drier weather waiting out in the west will arrive later on in the day. For London and the southeast, cloudy as we head towards midday, but it should be mostly dry before turning unsettled this afternoon. Across Wales, a very wet and windy picture of heavy rain, heaviest over the hills and mountains and gales and exposed areas. The rain will break up through the afternoon. In the Midlands, about lunchtime, the rain turns heaviest and most persistent. The winds will strengthen too, making conditions difficult if you're heading out on the road. After a very wet and windy morning, northeastern England should become drier. Some breaks about midday, though there'll still be plenty of rain around and the wind staying strong for a while. Heavy rain pushing across the southern half of Scotland as we head towards lunchtime. Further north, it's going to be drier, sunnier and calmer, albeit with a few showers. Now, after a very wet start in Northern Ireland, the rain will be starting to ease by the afternoon. It's going to take a while to clear completely, and some rain will linger. So the worst of the unsettled weather will clear away by tonight, with clearer skies in the west.
GB News is the UK's home of discussion and debate
From all perspectives.
To stay up to date on the latest stories,
make sure that you subscribe to the GB News channel
right here on YouTube.
You can watch us live 24/7 across the whole world.
You can also check out exclusive content and catch up on previous episodes of your favourite shows.
Every day, we ask the questions
that you'd ask, so why not add your voice to the conversation in the comments section?
Don't forget to subscribe. We are GB News, Britain's news channel.
Every night at 11 on GB News, we bring you the next day's stories the day before.
It's basically like time travel.
If it's a big story, we'll cover it, guaranteed. But we'll also have some fun along the way.
Big opinions, big laughs. Sometimes big hair.
This is
Headliners, the paper review show that won't send you to sleep like the others will.
11 p.m, 7 nights a week. Join us.
Hello there, I'm Eamon Holmes.
And I'm Isabel Webster.
And we hope you can join us for
Breakfast with Eamon.
And Isabel.
You make me laugh out loud, belly laugh.
Is that important first thing in the morning?
Yeah, absolutely.
And there's me trying to be deadly serious. News is a serious business.
Yeah, I have to rein you in sometimes.
Well, it doesn't stop us laughing at it. It doesn't stop us having an opinion on what's going on.
Yeah.
And it certainly will not stop us reflecting what you think.
Weekdays from 6 to 9:30 on GB News.
I'm Dan Wootton. Join me Monday to Thursday from 9 to 11 for the feistiest and most fun news debate on TV, where free speech reigns. I'll bring you a sharp take on the day's biggest stories, bombshell newsmaker interviews, and A-list guests. And I guarantee you, no spin, no bias, no censorship, and no reason to go to bed. That's Dan Wootton Tonight, Monday to Thursdays from 9 on GB News.
It's 6:22. You're watching and listening to Breakfast with Stephen and Anne live across the UK on your TV and on your radio.
We were asking a bit earlier and yesterday if you would send photos of you and GB News. They're coming in thick and fast. Steve says we're watching from Thailand.
Oh, very nice.
Very
oh,
nice.
It's sort of,
it is. Yes,
yes,
it's looking a bit Thai.
It is
now,
looking a
isn't
bit
it?
Thai.
Yeah.
Look at the fan. Show off.
Oh, I know. That's needing a fan at the moment.
Oh, not over here.
Is that a toy car behind the fan?
Oh.
It's a little toy car.
It's like a Porsche or something, is it?
Oh, it's
or a Lamborghini or something.
Nice.
Very nice. Craig and Anne say, morning, Anne and Steve. We're watching you from our bed with our Cocker Spaniel, Aggie, as she insists on getting us up at 5:15 every morning.
Yeah.
Oh,
well, I'm glad that she does get you up in time to switch the show on. That's rather good, isn't it?
Oh, I bet you'd like a lie-in, really.
Yeah, my dog gets me up at ridiculous hours. It's not fair.
No, Timmy's quite persistent at the minute. But he's getting a bit older, and I wonder if he's just sort of getting a bit, I don't know, do cats go a bit crackers when they get older?
I think they start off a bit crackers, so yeah, probably, actually. It's interesting, we're talking a bit later on to a relationships expert, it being Valentine's Day tomorrow. This just caught me in the Daily Mail. The secret to a long marriage, keep the wedding cheap.
Oh, is that even possible?
Well, it probably isn't now. Secret to a long marriage could be starting life together with a big but inexpensive wedding. I had this conversation with a taxi driver about a year ago or so, and he said that he was doing all of the hours he could possibly do because he was saving up for the big wedding. And I said, how much are you going to spend on it? And he said, we were about 25 grand. And I said, you could almost put down a deposit on a flat with 25 grand. And he said, yeah, but no, my girlfriend wants the wedding. And I said, yes, I know, I think that's brilliant, but do you have to spend 25 grand? Wouldn't it be much more sensible to put the 25 grand down against a flat or something? And I started going a bit old, old motherly on him.
There's nothing wrong with that. And I sort of think
25 grand?
A lot of them, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think a lot of women, particularly, want a day as a princess.
Yes, they do.
And that's not what marriage is about, is it?
Ooh.
Marriage is about, it should be a lovely day, but it's not about... And you see on those Bridezilla programmes and things where you get these women going, it's my day.
Yeah.
Well, it isn't.
No, it isn't, is it? But if it's been a dream that she or he has had, from childhood, this wonderful, amazing day where, yes, you live a fantasy, then maybe that's what you want. And you think it's probably going to be your only chance to get. Maybe you do. Maybe it's worth 25 grand. Apparently, I looked it up. 25 grand is sort of the lower average for what people spend on weddings.
Yes.
I wonder what you think about that. It would be lovely to hear your view, actually. Would you spend that much money on a wedding? And why, if you would?
But if you're going to have a reception and things, that's just what it costs. I mean, I've just ordered the flowers...
For yours?
For our wedding, which is 6 bunches, basically, for the tables. I mean, big bunches.
Centerpieces, yeah.
But £1,800. I mean, I nearly died when I got the email back.
And is that...
I nearly died.
Is that sort of a normal price? I suppose it is, isn't it?
Well, I don't know. And the problem is that it's very difficult to shop about at the moment because everyone's so booked up with weddings, making up for what's happened in the pandemic, that you find someone who's available, you just have to sort of go, right, I'll book me in.
Oh, gosh.
There's not a lot of shopping about.
So that's just flowers?
That was just
So
the
if you look at food, you can see how it starts to mount up.
Oh, yeah.
And then entertainment.
Yeah, and then the venue hire.
Then the venue for a start, yeah. And that's before you've got your big white dress on.
If you've got a big dress and cars and all the rest of it, if you're doing all of that, it costs a lot.
Yeah. Well, given that it's Valentine's Day tomorrow, let's talk about love and romance and whether or not spending a lot of money on a wonderful wedding is probably the best way or the worst way to start a marriage. I really don't know.
What about spending a lot of money on your Valentine's Day meal? You don't have to nowadays, do you?
No, you don't. In fact, we're going to be looking at cheaper ways to do it. Valentine's Day for the stingy. No, I don't mean that. But, cheaper ways to do it that can be just as lovely doing it at home, or maybe good recipes. Aldo Zilli, the chef, is coming on a bit later, and he'll also be able to tell us good ideas for if you fancy cooking your own meal at home.
There's lots of these good meal deals about which seem pretty good value for money, actually.
All of the supermarkets are doing wonderful meal deals. I had a do you know, yesterday I was saying I haven't been in a supermarket for 2 years. I went yesterday to look at the meal deals. And so I went into a Waitrose and an Asda, aren't I? Yeah.
Yeah.
Adventurous.
You are very adventurous.
Yeah, I know.
Did you have your mask on?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And so I went through and I got some. I look at the meal deals, and we'll go through some of those supermarket meal deals a bit later on. Try and tell you which is probably which you fancy, which we think is probably the best value. But I thought they were all astonishingly good value.
There you go. Stay tuned for all the latest on that one, because we have plenty more to come. All of that, loads of food, a few roses and some wine as well. Plus, we'll take you through the Sunday papers.
GB News is the UK's home of discussion and debate.
From all perspectives.
To stay up to date on the latest stories,
Make sure that you subscribe to the GB News channel right here on YouTube.
You can watch us live 24/7 across the whole world.
You can also check out exclusive content and catch up on previous episodes of your favourite shows. Every day, we ask the questions
that you'd ask, so why not add your voice to the conversation in the comments section?
Don't forget to subscribe. We are GB News, Britain's news channel.
Every night at 11 on GB News, we bring you the next day's stories the day before.
It's basically like time travel.
If it's a big story, we'll cover it, guaranteed. But we'll also have some fun along the way.
Big opinions, big laughs. Sometimes big hair.
This is
Headliners, the paper review show that won't send you to sleep like the others will.
11 p.m, 7 nights a week. Join us.
Hello there, I'm Eamon Holmes.
And I'm Isabel Webster.
And we hope you can join us for
Breakfast with Eamon.
And Isabel.
You make me laugh out loud, belly laugh.
Is that important first thing in the morning?
Yeah, absolutely.
And there's me trying to be deadly serious. News is a serious business.
Yeah, I have to rein you in sometimes.
Well, it doesn't stop us laughing at it. It doesn't stop us having an opinion on what's going on.
Yeah.
And it certainly will not stop us reflecting what you think.
Weekdays from 6 to 9:30 on GB News.
I'm Dan Wootton. Join me Monday to Thursday from 9 to 11 for the feistiest and most fun news debate on TV, where free speech reigns. I'll bring you a sharp take on the day's biggest stories, bombshell newsmaker interviews, and A-list guests. And I guarantee you, no spin, no bias, no censorship, and no reason to go to bed. That's Dan Wootton tonight, Monday to Thursdays from 9 on GB News.
It is 6:30. Welcome back. You're watching and listening to Breakfast with Stephen and Anne on your TV and on your radio, wherever you want. Or your mobile phone, your tablet, whatever you want.
Yeah, absolutely. You can't get away from us. Shall we have a quick flip through today's front pages? The Sunday Times focuses on remarks by the British Defence Secretary Ben Wallace, who has said there is a whiff of Munich in the air, as he refers to Allied attempts to appease Hitler in 1938 before the start of the Second World War.
The Russian President Vladimir Putin is preparing to create the circumstances in which the Kremlin could justify an invasion of Ukraine. And according to the Sunday Telegraph, British sources believe a false flag event could happen as soon as Wednesday.
Joe Biden is urging Vladimir Putin to pull back Russian troops as Washington warns an invasion would produce widespread human suffering.
Well, speaking of the consequences, President Biden is also warning Putin that Russia will pay a heavy cost if it attacks Ukraine. That's in The Observer.
Jacob Rees-Mogg spoke to The Express and said Brexit will transform Britain and deliver such dividends that nobody will even think of wanting to rejoin the European Union.
Prince Charles and Camilla will be crowned side by side as husband and wife as a scaled-down coronation takes place, as markedly shorter and cheaper than in the past, whenever that happened.
And there you go. On the Sunday People, friends of the Duchess of Cornwall fear that Prince Harry's tell-all book will be a bombshell for Camilla and shake the monarchy to the core.
OK, well, let's go through those papers in a bit more detail with radio presenter and journalist Pete Price and the broadcaster and journalist Claire Muldoon.
Welcome.
Morning to you both this morning. Claire, a whiff of Munich in the air, according to Ben Wallace.
Yeah, and this comes against in the backdrop of Biden having a one-hour conversation yesterday with Vladimir Putin on the phone. We know that the US exit from Afghanistan has been problematic, to say the least. And to be honest with you, I think any phone call with Sleepy Biden, Putin would have been laughing at the other end of the phone. There is language used here of false flag, straw man. For the rest of us here, this merely means it could be a false effect from Putin threatening war on Wednesday. Why on earth are we even given a date if it's going to happen? Do we think we're this stupid? And the straw man element is the backdrop of the opposite argument for the war. This has been rumbling on. Putin has been playing cat and mouse for months on this. Putin is now saying that he doesn't want the US troops to move into the Ukraine, whereas he's got over 100,000 troops on the border in any event. There is loads of things going on. I personally think there will not be a war, and of course I'm hoping there won't be. I'm hoping we don't have to get into anything like this. And as early as the 3rd of January of this year, 5 of the international countries got together for the nuclear disarmament, and they all published a letter. There was China, America, Britain, Russia, and they've said, we do not want a nuclear war. We do not want anything, that could somehow jeopardise this. And there's a human aspect to this. There'll be human atrocities if Putin goes ahead with this false flag and this straw man argument saying that the opposite will happen. We're in for a deadly time, and it's the Russians that will suffer.
What do you think Ben Wallace means when he says there's a whiff of Munich in the air? Is he implying that talking to Putin is appeasement, just talking to him?
Well, I think it's the to be seen as talking to him. I think that's what he means as a whiff of Munich. I'm not for loaded language like this. I do not think it's helpful to any man, woman, child. It's so not helpful. I don't think he should have said that. But, if we're driving fascism, this is strong language.
What do you make of it, Mr. Price?
Wow. She's very clever, isn't she?
She is.
She knows all this stuff.
You have to be to understand what's going on in Ukraine,
I don't understand it. And talking to my listeners with my phone in, they don't understand what's going on. It seems and appears to be big boys playing games, but they're playing games with people's lives. And I don't think the public in this country who see the headlines, an awful lot of the public don't understand it and are not bothered by it because it's not happening. They're just getting through a pandemic. They've lost loved ones. They can't make head and a tail of what's going on. I can't. I really can't. But
that's why you're right to say that the language that's used, they have to be very, very careful.
It's frightening.
Yeah, because exactly that. Because it's
very,
frightening.
very frightening. And then when they say they're trying to play a double bluff when they say that they're asking the British citizens to leave, and Australians have now said they're getting rid of, they're asking theirs to leave. That's not sending good signs out at all. And the poor Ukrainian people, how they're going through what they're going through. We've just gone through a pandemic. The world has been in turmoil, and Putin is not helping in any shape or form.
No, but also there's this confusion when we talk about a war. No one is suggesting that we would actually be engaged in a war at this stage. Everyone's sort of saying, well, we'd leave it to Ukraine. We'd supply weapons and training and all that sort of thing.
Would we really stand back, do you think?
Yeah, but the problem with that is if we stand back, we stood back with Hitler and then we started to fight on. I'm not suggesting that Putin is Hitler, but I'm suggesting he seems to be power hungry and wanting to take over Europe and doesn't like what we're playing. Big boys playing big games with people's lives.
It's a land grab like he did with Crimea.
Thank you, a land grab.
That's exactly what I think is happening here in the Ukraine.
Do you think he'll send in troops? He'll actually start some...
He already has.
Well, yes, but not actually into Ukraine. He's on the border, isn't he?
Well,
it only takes...
It's cat and mouse. And only Putin knows what Putin will do. No one else does.
And do you think we would stand back if he did?
I don't think we would. I think this is something else that Boris Johnson might need to deflect from Partygate and everything that's happening.
I struggle. It would deflect.
Yes.
You're absolutely right.
Hugely.
I struggle to accept that anyone would send people into war knowing that lives would probably be lost to deflect.
I wish I agreed with you on that, but people don't worry about people's lives. And of course, he's got another weapon, social media, which he uses cleverly, you know, as other governments do. So they've now got that as well. I mean, it is a frightening world we're living in.
It is hugely. But also, it's a very desensitised world that we're living in.
Yes.
You were saying earlier, Pete, about your listeners not understanding what was going on. This war, or the breakout potential war, has been rumbling on since last summer.
Yeah.
People are completely and utterly desensitised to all of this.
Yeah, unless they're going to be pulled into it one way or another.
I find it absolutely astonishing that we got through the Cold War, frankly. I mean, it was amazing that we did get to the end of the Cold War and that all huge build-up of the nuclear arsenal on all sides. And you think that's fantastic. Humanity triumphed.
I
and then
was
suddenly, in the 21st century, we find ourselves in this situation.
I was in Russia about just before the pandemic, and I found, talking to the people who I thought were beautiful people, they just didn't get Putin. The ones I spoke to just didn't get him.
I'm surprised they gave vocal opinion on that, because the Russians
They
I
did.
spoke
Well,
to
that
in
was-
Moskowitz
it
and
was the-
Petersburg
yeah.
couldn't. They didn't, and that was really, really marked.
I was in St. Petersburg, and they were vocal. I was talking to a lot of the gay community in particular, who have now got bars. They're still scared, but they're vocal.
OK, let's have a look, Claire, at the Mail on Sunday and the Sunday People, looking at Charles, Camilla and Prince Harry.
Well, yes. Prince Harry, as you've quite rightly said earlier, Anne, has been warned that he's having a tell-all bombshell book to be launched.
You believe it? I don't know if I
The
believe
King and Queen of Woke from Los Angeles are bringing to you a tell-all, feature-full book. And this is on the back of, this is all coming out now, because the Queen has said, in line of succession, we will have a King Charles and we will have Queen Camilla in consort. Prince Charles has said that he wants a scaled-down version of his coronation. One wonders when, one, that will be, two, where it will be. Will it be from Westminster Abbey or Windsor or wherever?
They're suggesting Westminster Abbey, aren't they?
They are. But also, interestingly, there was another article in another newspaper that said, if you get married and you have a very small marriage, small affair, the marriage lasts longer.
Oh, that's right, yes.
So now Prince Charles has said, I want a scaled-back coronation. Do we think he might be able to reign for at least another 20, 30 years?
Well, yes, scaled back is comparative, isn't it? I mean, it's still going to be a huge event.
A coronation.
Yeah, their idea of scale back is not our idea.
No, but I mean, surely if we're going to have a coronation, we want it to look like a coronation, don't we?
What do you think of Queen Camilla, Pete?
I like her. I was a Diane fan, but I like her. I think she's proved herself. She's doing an awful lot for charity, an awful lot of work, and she's very vocal. And if she makes him happy, she makes him happy.
What about Prince Harry, then, in all of this?
I was disappointed with the whole thing. I think he's totally and utterly manipulated by that lady he's married to. I
agree with you.
I hope it lasts. I don't think it will last. I think she'll spit him out when she's had what she wants.
Why is it, though, when something happens that we're not happy with,
we blame the woman?
Blame the wife.
No, we don't.
Don't we?
Oh, no, I blame the husband. No.
No.
Oh, I think that's...
I'm not having that.
I think that's the general impression you get from people.
In this
and
case,
I don't. I mean, I don't know her.
maybe it's
She's a powerful woman. She's a very strong woman, and I liked her. And then I went, no, something's not right. But you see, I've been in the business 50 years. I've seen some pieces of work.
Yeah.
All I think you just have to look at the balance, don't you? She has gained everything, and he has lost everything.
Yes.
I can't help but see it that way.
That's perfectly said.
But again, if he's happy, maybe he's happy, and that's just it. I don't know.
Writing a book, if it's true that he is writing a tell-all bombshell book, that won't make him happy. That will just earn him more enemies. I hope
I hope it's not
It
true.
can't be a cathartic process for him, though, going through all of this. He's clearly scarred from his mother's death and from his parents' divorce, which seemed quite acrimonious in parts, and indeed their lives going forward from that.
But you don't want to wear your dirty laundry in public.
You don't, and that's not a British thing. I think we need to scrap all of this of, you can't do that or you can do that. It's the woman's fault if you're taking over your man or whatever. People have to have a sense of humility, a sense of just, and a sense of their own belief in themselves that we can actually keep under wraps and have some pride, eh? Let's have some pride.
The trouble is, he's living in America now. He's away from the effect of a lot of his decisions. Back in Britain, he ought to be watching us, actually, and then he'll know what Britons feel about this.
And every time
At the moment, he's probably just getting an American audience.
Every time he does something wrong, he makes William look that much better.
True.
Well, it might actually be time now to look at restructuring the whole system of having a monarchy in this country, given the way England and Scotland and Wales.
There's no doubt that.
She's Scottish.
No,
What do you expect?
for independence.
No, but that's going to be the debate, isn't it?
It will be.
It's going to be the forthcoming
And
debate.
I believe Charles is going to move into the palace when he's...
he's agreed to move into Buckingham
Big house
Palace.
to move into.
Well, he's big enough, though, wouldn't he? I would take that as read.
Well, if he's scaling down, let's scale down on that. Do some more...
Oh, yeah, turn it into a block of flats, why not?
Oh, no.
Affordable housing.
No.
Location. The location is brilliant.
Really.
Yeah.
Affordable.
That's your MBE out the window.
Oh, definitely Scottish.
Now, what about, Pete, Jacob Rees-Mogg, who says that Brexit dividends are going to be the most amazing thing ever?
Yeah. I love this. Said Brexit will transform Britain and deliver such divisions. It's going to be absolutely amazing. But then on the page 4, he says, Jacob needs your views. So he wants your ideas. He wants you to email ideas. Excuse me, this is a country, so we're throwing our ideas at him. I thought it was already set in stone. I didn't vote for Brexit. I accepted it, but I didn't vote for Brexit. And now we're telling this will never happen in my lifetime. Mind you, I haven't got many years left.
No, you're on your way out.
Shut up, you. But it won't happen in my life. I find it amazing. All my pals who are in business are struggling to get the paperwork done, struggling to get items out of the country and into the country. And, it's time that, in fact, GB should do a programme about it.
Well, do you know what? I mean, I'm all for being optimistic, but I also think you have to be realistic and acknowledge that hopefully it will work out to be very good in the end, but there are going to be a few hurdles along the way. That's just the nature of it. It just seems a little bit rosy spectacled for me.
A bit crass.
Especially given the timing.
Yeah, given the timing, we want your help. And he's only done it to the one paper. I mean, there's it's not all by the book. Not everyone reads the Daily Express or the Sunday Express. But Jacob Rees-Mogg, to be fair, has got very, very good feedback from his constituency in Somerset. He appears to be a very, very good MP, Member of Parliament. In terms of this new Brexit rule now, I'm not sure what he can bring to it. I'm not sure what else we need to do. I did vote for Brexit. I think in the terms of subsidiarity, moving away from the legality and the policing, for want of a better word, of the EU on this country, that was the reason why I voted out, because I think we needed change, we need structure, and I think that the EU is on its knees. However, getting back to what Jacob Rees-Mogg has done, I don't think it's going to work, because he also did it in the Sun, I think. So he's tempting. I think he's baiting people.
Well, his job is to make Brexit look good now, isn't it?
Yeah, well,
so
come on.
He's Minister for Brexit Opportunities. So his job is now to look for things that make Brexit sound good, look good,
well,
justify Brexit.
I think it's 2 years too late. They could have worked through this during the pandemic when there was not much else for them to do. And they could have formulated things, they could have got things in place, they could have done their research, found the evidence, and worked a way towards that.
Yeah, well, it's gonna take a while. I just think you've got to be realistic about it.
You said about his constituents in Somerset, like him. Is there anybody who lives in Somerset? It's a few farmers, I mean.
No.
That was a joke.
Yeah.
That was a joke.
I'm going to say, if you're in Somerset this morning, get
I
in
love
touch.
Somerset. Tom.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. You just want the cider, don't you?
Not the scrumpy. Oh, have
That's
terrible
horrible.
headaches. Terrible headaches.
On that cheery note, I'm going to let you two go.
Yeah,
for
thanks
now,
very
but
much for the moment. Do come back.
Yeah, we'll catch up with you later. Claire Muldoon and Pete Price. Thank you.
Thank you.
Keep that jacket on, Pete.
I'll show.
Let's have a look at the latest headlines for you this morning. And the Defence Secretary says he fears a Russian attack on Ukraine is highly likely. Speaking to the Sunday Times, Ben Wallace said there is a whiff of Munich in the air, referring to diplomatic efforts which failed to prevent the Second World War.
The Labour Party is urging the government to learn lessons from the Afghanistan evacuation to help people leave Ukraine if Russia invades. Shadow Foreign Secretary David Lammy is calling for phone lines to be staffed 24/7 and extra resources put in place to process visas.
The Prime Minister will leave London this week, insisting he's getting on with the job while facing questions from police investigating alleged lockdown breaches. Number 10 says he'll start the week in Scotland at a manufacturing site before heading to an oncology centre in northwest England.
The Mayor of London has pledged to oppose the appointment of a new Metropolitan Police Chief unless they have a robust plan to deal with the cultural problems at the force. Writing in The Observer, Sadiq Khan says he is deeply concerned that public trust in the country's biggest force has been shattered by a series of scandals.
7 people have been rescued after a mezzanine floor collapsed last night at the Two More Years pub in East London. Ambulance crews treated 13 people and took 4 to hospital. 3 have potentially serious injuries.
Time for sport now, and Aidan McGee's joined us. Good morning.
Morning, how are you?
I'm very well, very well.
Good stuff.
What have we got?
A few things, really. Yeah, Chelsea was interesting because they played this game in Abu Dhabi. It was the Club World Cup. So Chelsea, as Champions League winners last summer, take on the equivalent winners from around the world. They're playing in a semi-final tournament and then into the final. And yesterday they went to extra time, but they beat Palmeiras of Brazil. It was interesting because the manager Thomas Tuchel couldn't get to the game until until the night before because he tested positive for COVID and was waiting for his negative results to come back. He said he'd made several darts to the airport, hoping that he would be clear. He got pulled back several times, but finally he got to go there. The previous round of the FA Cup against Plymouth, he actually had to manage the game from his office. And he said it's just totally unsatisfactory as a coach.
Difficult.
Yeah, as a coach, you want to be on the touchline. You want to be feeling things. He's one of those guys. He's very energetic. He wants to kick every ball as the game goes on. And yesterday he got to do that by going to be with his players. And of course, this completes the full sweep of trophies now. Chelsea have won every possible trophy you can win since Roman Abramovich bought the club in 2003, and they had an emotional kind of embrace at the end of the game.
It's quite something, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is.
Absolutely.
He said, "This is for you." He said, "Your passion made this possible," and that means they've completed the full sweep now. And of course, they're European champions as they are. They could win it again potentially, and so a big moment for Chelsea. But a big moment, some big games in the Premier League as well. Manchester City moved 12 points clear at the top of the league with a 4-0 win at Norwich. That puts pressure today on Liverpool as they go to Burnley this afternoon. Man United was interesting as well. Another 1-1 draw for them, 3 in a row. And Paul Scholes made some, Manchester United legend, made some real critical comments about Manchester United, saying that the players aren't prepared to run for the cause, they're not prepared to close the opponents down, which is what you have to do really in the modern game. Which is basically saying that the players are lazy. The manager hit back, nasty nick. This is the back of the Sport, and he says, "Understand what Paul Scholes is saying, but I don't think." I'm just turning over now. Players are unwilling to run. This is about the type of players we have and how they want to play. Our team has never been a pressing team. And to change those habits in a couple of weeks without a pre-season doesn't happen just like that. Now, the problem you've got here is that Scholes is a legend. I'm sure Ralph Rangnick disagrees with him more wholeheartedly than that, but you just can't go around criticising legends like that, not in front of your home fans. They just don't like it.
Yeah. Look, can we talk Super Bowl?
Yeah.
Because, it's one of those... it's a huge event, but it's one of those weird events where people are more bothered about the commercials than they are about the...
And they're really good as well.
Let me throw a stat your way. How much? Can I ask you to guess? How much does a 30-second commercial cost at an interval in tonight's match? If you were a company like a Pepsi or a Hyundai or something like that, or a Budweiser...
30-second interval.
Yeah.
Commercial.
Commercial. How much do you reckon? How much are you going to set you back in dollars?
250 grand.
No, I'd go for $1 million.
$7 million.
Wow!
Yeah, I think the
$7 million for a 30-second ad.
Yeah, last year. I mean, look, it was 5.7 million.
Everybody's watching.
I think it was last year, but I mean, the TV audience this year. I mean, they think it could be just in the US alone. It could be 117 million, but globally, 800 to 1 billion. I mean, that's to put it in context. That's about half. That's about half what a Football World Cup final would get. So anybody who thinks that the Super Bowl is still some kind of parochial sport played by Americans, it's not true. It's a global event now, and it's been spread out around the world. They've done a good job marketing it. The game itself, let's we just mentioned that. The LA Rams against the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, this means that the LA Rams are playing at the home stadium in a fight in Super Bowl. It's only the second time that's happened. And I think the feeling in the States is that, or certainly from the analysis, is that that's really motivated their run to the final. They're not habitual team, not side who regularly finished at this level. The fact that they were able to, that they knew the final was going to be at home ground, as it were, that's incentivised them to get there. So they're probably the favourites against the Cincinnati Bengals. It's in Inglewood, LA, 11:30 tonight. Eminem on the card at half-time. Mary J. Blige, Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg.
Yeah, because that's always a great big feature as well, is who's playing at half-time.
Absolutely.
Oh, it's very sort of rappy.
Yes.
Then, isn't it?
Yeah, without
doubt. Well, yeah, because it's in front of a live crowd.
Not your thing?
No, it's not my thing.
No.
Not
What would you
all
go
of
for?
Well, I think it's something with a bit more show. I mean, Beyonce did an amazing one. The Janet Jackson one was legendary.
Yeah.
I mean, Lady Gaga, was that last year or the year before? I mean,
I can't remember.
That was a phenomenal...
I remember being at the
All-Stars
All-Stars basketball game in 200008 in New Orleans. Harry Connick Jr. was
that I'd like
was
to see.
there. I mean, that's a bit of a while back now. But,
It's an amazing day in America if you're there at the time of the Super Bowl or any of those big finals, as it were, because you can walk along the street and not see anyone. Everybody's at home watching it, and it's a great day to go to Disney or any of the other theme parks because there are no queues. It's astonishing. America sort of closes down for a bit.
Yeah, I mean, you won't see it here because it won't start until 11:30 tonight when everyone's going to be indoors anyway. But it is free to air on the BBC, Sky showing it as well.
Is it?
So yeah, I didn't want to plug our rivals necessarily, but there will be.
But it's the only way to watch it.
There will be viewers who want to watch it, so I think it's important to convey that information.
I would actually.
It's been
I
lovely working with you, Ray.
I don't know what's going on. I don't understand it at all. But I can appreciate the whole.
It's the razzmatazz, isn't it? I mean, if you look at the Premier League in England, the football. That's basically how the model that's followed in the last 20, 25 years is the NFL model. It's the longer half times. I mean, when Sky first launched the Premier League back in 1992, I mean, we were seeing things like massive sort of sumo wrestling events at half time. It didn't really catch on here. We were seeing half-time entertainment. Manchester City against QPR, August 1992, the first Monday Night Football, undercover, played Baker Street live on the pitch at Main Road at Manchester City's old stadium. As I say, so it's live music at half-time. Everyone just thought that would just grow and grow and grow. Sometimes trends create counter-trends. And the British public said, or the British football public anyway, said, that's not for us, and it's never been seen again. And half-time entertainment now doesn't really exist on the pitch. People are just encouraged to go to the outlets and get a hot dog.
Put the price of your ticket up.
Oh, yeah.
You've got to pay for these acts.
But I love the way that particularly Americans have add the razzmatazz feature to sports. I mean, I love tennis.
Yes.
And Wimbledon is one thing which I love, and it's totally British. But when you go to some of the more commercial US ones that are done here, where the professionals just come and do it for money, basically.
Yeah.
But the entertainment value is absolutely colossal.
It is. I just remember, I remember Roger Federer winning the US Open back in, I think, 2008. And he was, one of his prizes alongside the cheque and the trophy was he got a Seat Ibiza car, which was a hatchback, and he was presented with the keys as well. So sometimes it can look a little bit out of place. Sometimes it can be over-sponsored. You can be a victim of that commercial success, can't you?
I don't know. Am I being presented with keys to a car after every show?
But the really good players play up to the audience. And it's something they can't do at Wimbledon in a serious match when they're just showing off. They can play.
Outfits.
Oh, it's just wonderful.
Yeah.
Brilliant to go to.
Exactly.
Lovely. Aidan, thank you very much indeed. We'll catch up with you a little bit later on. We've got plenty more to come, including lots of your views. Keep them coming through. gbviews@gbnews.uk. Here's the weather. And the UK is looking very unsettled as heavy and persistent rain and strong winds spread across the country. So let's have a look at the detail for you. And in the southwest, a very wet morning and the rain will continue through to lunchtime. Drier weather waiting ahead in the west will arrive later in the day. For London in the southeast, cloudy as we head towards midday, but it should be mostly dry before turning unsettled this afternoon. Across Wales, a very wet and windy picture, plenty of rain, heaviest over the hills and mountains, gales in exposed areas too. The rain will break up though through the afternoon. In the Midlands, it's going to be around lunchtime that the rain turns heaviest and the most persistent. The winds will strengthen too, making conditions difficult if you're heading out on the road. Now, after a very wet and windy morning, northeast England should see some drier breaks around midday, although there will still be plenty of rain about and the winds will stay strong for a while. Heavy rain will push across the southern half of Scotland as we head towards lunchtime. Further north, it's going to be drier, sunnier and calmer. There will still be a few showers. Now, after a very wet start in Northern Ireland, the rain will be starting to ease by the afternoon. It's going to take a while to clear completely, though, with some rain lingering. The worst of the unsettled weather will clear away by tonight, with clearer skies in the west.
GB News is the UK's home of discussion and debate.
From all perspectives.
To stay up to date on the latest stories,
make sure that you subscribe to the GB News channel
right here on YouTube.
You can watch us live 24/7 across the whole world.
You can also check out exclusive content and catch up on previous episodes of your favourite shows.
Every day, we ask the questions
that you'd ask, so why not add your voice to the conversation in the comments section?
Don't forget to subscribe. We are GB News, Britain's news channel.
Every night at 11 on GB News, we bring you the next day's stories the day before.
It's basically like time travel.
If it's a big story, we'll cover it, guaranteed. But we'll also have some fun along the way.
Big opinions, big laughs. Sometimes big hair.
This is
Headliners, the paper review show that won't send you to sleep like the others will.
11 p.m, 7 nights a week. Join us.
Hello there, I'm Eamon Holmes.
And I'm Isabel Webster.
And we hope you can join us for
Breakfast with Eamon.
And Isabel.
You make me laugh out loud, belly laugh.
Is that important first thing in the morning?
Yeah, absolutely.
And there's me trying to be deadly serious. News is a serious business.
Yeah, I have to rein you in sometimes.
Well, it doesn't stop us laughing at it. It doesn't stop us having an opinion on what's going on.
Yeah.
And it certainly will not stop us reflecting what you think.
Weekdays from 6 to 9:30 on GB News.
I'm Dan Wootton. Join me Monday to Thursday from 9 to 11 for the feistiest and most fun news debate on TV, where free speech reigns. I'll bring you a sharp take on the day's biggest stories, bombshell newsmaker interviews, and A-list guests. And I guarantee you, no spin, no bias, no censorship, and no reason to go to bed. That's Dan Wootton Tonight, Monday to Thursdays from 9 on GB News.
Morning to you, 7 o'clock on Sunday, the 13th of February. This is Breakfast on GB News with Stephen and Anne.
We're live across the whole of the UK on both your TV and your radio, wherever you are. And do let us know where you are and take us with you. Coming up this morning, Joe Biden has warned Vladimir Putin that the US would impose swift and severe costs on Russia were it to invade Ukraine. More than a dozen countries have now asked their citizens to leave the country.
Well, meanwhile, the Defence Secretary Ben Wallace has said an attack is now highly likely.
And in his first interview since becoming the Minister for Brexit Opportunities and Government Efficiency, Jacob Rees-Mogg has outlined his vision for post-Brexit Britain in the Sunday Express. We'll be speaking a bit later on to the paper's political editor about that.
Also coming up, we're going to be talking to a woman who ran away to Britain from the States as a teenager to meet the Beatles, but was sent home. Almost 60 years later, she found out Paul McCartney had actually wanted to meet her.
That's going to be a corker, actually.
Can't wait to talk to
She
her.
ran away with her friend at the age of 16, 1964, and didn't tell her parents where they were going.
Can you imagine?
Drained their college fund to do it. Came over to London just to meet the Beatles. Of course, it wasn't that easy to meet the Beatles even in 1964, and they got into real trouble, the two of them, over it.
It's going to be fascinating to talk to her.
She's written a book about it. She's called it My Ticket to Ride, and it was indeed a very expensive ticket, actually.
Yes, she got jailed when she got back, didn't
That's
she?
right. They were really hard on her. Well, she and her friend had just run away and not told the parents where they were going or anything. So there was first of all a big police hunt in the United States for them, which then came over to Britain when they found out that they had come to Britain. Everybody was looking for them.
How long they were grounded for? 20 years.
We'll find out.
You can join in anything we're talking about this morning or anything you want to talk about. Just let us know. gbviews@gbnews.uk is our email, or you can tweet us at gbnews.
It's Valentine's Day tomorrow.
Yes, indeed.
So now's the time to start thinking about it, if indeed you think you want to start thinking about it.
I mean,
in other words, if you're in a relationship you want to celebrate. We don't know.
Oh, it's a bit late, isn't it?
I don't know. It depends what you're planning, isn't it? If you want a nice table in a nice restaurant, then maybe it is a bit too late. But there are lots of alternatives. We're going to be talking a bit later on about supermarket meal deals. You can get fantastic, and I really am impressed with them, fantastic Valentine's Day meal deals from most of the major supermarkets. And they're anything from about £15 to £20. And you get a lot for your money, I have to say.
And sort of 3 courses and a bottle of wine.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
it's funny. So you went out shopping yesterday and picked these up.
Yeah.
And oddly enough, one of the bottles of wine this morning I noticed is half empty.
I know, and it wasn't me.
Oh. Are you sure?
I caught the dog sniffing out the cauliflower cheese. She's very fond of cauliflower cheese.
Is she?
Yeah, because when I got in and I dumped the carrier bags out round on the kitchen floor, and she came over and she could smell the cauliflower cheese. Yeah, and so I gave her a bit, and she was chasing the tinfoil thing round the kitchen. Very funny.
Oh, bless. So what have we got? We've got a Waitrose.
Got a Waitrose one, M&S, and Asda. So quite a good spectrum, actually. And I think you'll be surprised. A bit later on we'll show you. You'll be surprised what great value I think all of them are. And the Asda one particularly good, and that's only £15.
And there's a lot of food.
Yeah, a lot of food.
It might not all be there by the time we get it.
It better be.
Is there a hungry bunch out there?
Yeah, I will bring it in and show you. But it's interesting talking about that, and also talking about this report out that small weddings make longer marriages. And I was saying that isn't it daft to spend too much money on the wedding when there's so many handier things to do with the money nowadays. We're all a bit hard up. And apparently the average cost of a wedding now is 30 grand.
30.
That's without rings, and that's not taking into account rings, honeymoon.
It's a lot of money. I think the secret between a smaller wedding and a longer marriage is the fact that it shows your priorities are different. It shows that your priority is about the marriage and not about the wedding day.
On the other hand, so many people spend years and years and years looking forward to the big day. And I suppose the average price of a wedding dress is quite expensive.
I know someone who spent 20 grand on the wedding dress.
Wow.
I mean, I don't know what she did with it afterwards.
Was it wonderful?
Oh, it was beautiful. It was so
beautiful.
beautiful. But I mean,
you only wear it one day, don't you? And then not the whole of the day.
Yeah. But then do you keep it? My mum still got her wedding dress.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
I don't know. What have you done with your wedding dress? Where is it? Can you still get in it?
Oh, probably not.
No,
That's the thing.
Isn't there a thing? I don't know whether it's just an American thing. There is a tradition of celebrating your anniversary every year and putting your wedding dress back on.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that's going to get
if
depressing
you've done that, let me know.
30 years.
Well, it's a bit depressing as well if you can't get into it.
Yes.
You can't do the zip up at the back or something.
Everyone gets
a bit embarrassing.
Everyone gets bigger as they get older.
Yeah.
That's life.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that. Where are you, by the way, this morning, if you're digging out your wedding dress right now from the attic?
We'd like to see it.
We'd love to see where you are, what you're doing, where you're watching. As we asked you yesterday, and we're keeping it going today because we had so many responses. Nige has been in touch. Morning, Nige.
Morning.
He's in a wet and windy Weymouth in Dorset.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear it's wet and windy. Oh, there we are. Nattering away earlier on.
They never get good facial expressions of us, do they?
Well, it's a very weird one of me, but there you go. Sean and Lynn say, we got up early, especially to see you both. Loving the new show. We're in Kirkcaldy in Scotland.
Kirkcaldy, was that Gordon Brown's constituency,
Kirkcaldy? I don't know.
I think it might have been.
Check.
When he was PM.
Yeah.
Oh, morning to you in Kirkcaldy.
Yeah, it's lovely to see those pictures. Want a bit more of the room, because I like to have a sneak peek. Yeah, exactly.
But that's right. When I was working from home in 2020, no one cared about what I was saying.
No.
I just wanted to see what was in the room.
Yes, I was absolutely fascinated by that. I was trying to figure out exactly where you were and whatever. And occasionally there was a cat.
Oh, the cat.
Standing in the background. Yeah. And I couldn't figure out sometimes whether the cat was real or whether it was a statue in the garden.
Oh, well, there was. I did have a fox statue.
That's right, yes.
I had a fox in the garden, which you could see. And, you know, someone tweeted me and said she was reporting me to the RSPCA because it was a rainy day and the dog has been outside all morning.
Oh, I love it.
It's a plastic fox.
Yes.
Anyway, it's still there, though. He's getting a bit washed out. Bless him.
OK, but do let us know where you are. Take pictures, please. I also want to hear from you if you've spent 30 grand on a wedding or anything like. Was it worth it, I wonder? GBviews at gbnews.uk.
Gives me the jitters thinking about
that. Is it worth it?
Well, that much money.
I know,
On
absolutely.
a day. Blimey heck. To our main news this morning, then, and the Defence Secretary, Ben Wallace, has told the Sunday Times, the chance of Russia invading Ukraine is now highly likely, likening last-minute Western diplomatic efforts to appeasement, stating there was a whiff of Munich in the air.
And last night, in an hour-long phone call with the Russian leader, US President Joe Biden warned an attack would cause widespread human suffering.
Well, let's head to Tomsk in Russia and Jacob Lassin, postdoctoral fellow at the Malikian Centre for Russian, Eurasian and East European Studies. Good morning to you. That's quite a title. Look, what's your reading of what is going on at the moment?
Good morning to you as well. What I really see happening here is a lot of repetition of what we've already been having for about a month or so already. The United States has been saying that an attack has been imminent for a few weeks now, and this news just seems to be, reinforcing that idea.
What's the atmosphere like in Russia at the moment? I mean, what do ordinary people think of this? Is it on the news much? Is it being discussed like we are discussing it now?
So for the average Russian, for the ordinary Russian, I don't think it's as big of a deal as it is for the average Westerner right now. It's on the news, but it's not exactly the main story the way that it has been for in the United States, in Britain, in France, and as well, other things are really taking more of the spotlight. The Olympics, especially the controversy over the figure skater Kamila Valieva. These issues are much bigger here than what anything I've seen related to Ukraine.
Look, I mean, if there was an invasion and there would be consequences as a result, whether it was in terms of conflict or whether it was just in terms of further sanctions and things, I mean, are we able to guess what the global consequences could be and ascertain quite why the West is so concerned about what happens in Ukraine?
Well, the main issue here is that, having Putin go into a sovereign country, especially one that has been trying to grow its ties with the West, with NATO, would be a very large infringement on, the security concerns of the Western world. And, being able to just kind of roll into Ukraine would show that, the same thing might be possible in other countries, like in the Baltic countries, perhaps even Poland. So, the idea that Putin can just, move in without any recourse or without any kind of worry is extremely anxiety-inducing for NATO and Western countries.
Certainly, President Putin is the centre of attention at the moment. He's getting a lot of attention from other world leaders. Do you think that's what it's all about?
This has definitely been a major aspect of it. Regardless of what happens, whether there's an invasion or not, Putin has been able to get his agenda onto the main stage with the rest of the world. He's gotten European leaders to come to visit him in Moscow. And these sorts of questions have not been discussed at such high levels in a very, very long time. So Putin has been able to get his concerns and his demands really out there, and to have European leaders and the American leader actually have to address them. So, in a lot of ways, he's already won in that sense.
You mentioned President Putin talking about an attack being imminent for the last few weeks. I mean, at some point, does this become a self-fulfilling prophecy?
That's a huge worry that I have, is that, we keep, hearing this drum beating on and on and on, that it's coming, it's coming, it's coming. And that at some point it's very difficult for one or both sides to back down. And that could, as you said, become a self-fulfilling prophecy. So, both sides say that they want to continue the diplomatic route, although diplomacy has seemed to have been at kind of a deadlock for a long time now. But, it is worrisome that, the longer that this goes on, it feels like the closer we get to a more open and deadly conflict.
OK. Dr. Jacob Lassin, really good to get your expertise this morning. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. So let's go with the latest headlines for you now. The Prime Minister will leave London this week, insisting he's getting on with the job whilst facing questions from police, of course still investigating the alleged lockdown breaches. Number 10 says he'll start the week in Scotland at a manufacturing site before heading to an oncology centre in northwest England.
Lord Frost is amongst a group of senior Tory MPs and peers urging Boris Johnson to reverse the government's ban on fracking as the UK faces an energy crisis. In a joint letter to the Prime Minister, the former Cabinet Minister and about 29 other Conservatives said it's time to reverse this moratorium.
The Mayor of London has pledged to oppose the appointment of a new Metropolitan Police Chief unless they have a robust plan to deal with what he called the cultural problems at the force. Writing in The Observer, Sadiq Khan says he is deeply concerned that public trust in the country's biggest force has been shattered by a series of scandals.
Fully vaccinated British travellers heading to France no longer have to take a coronavirus test before they depart. The travel rules have been eased just in time for the half-term holidays, with many expected to head to French ski resorts.
Now, everyone's a fan of the Beatles. I hope you are, aren't you?
Yeah, well, I grew up with it, really. I mean, not at that time. But with my mum and dad were big Beatles fans, so I got it all in the 70s.
Who's your favourite Beatle? Who was your favourite?
I think you've got to go Paul McCartney, haven't you?
I think you have to. I always did. But in those days, back in the 60s, it was always a fight over whether it was Paul or John. And a lot of people found George very, very cute. Ringo was always the last one to be named as a favourite. It's a shame because he's great, Ringo is. But anyway, it's wonderful and their music is wonderful. Maybe you're not quite such a fan of the Beatles as our next guest, because she was crazy. In 1964, she was one of two schoolgirls in America, ran away to Britain to meet the Beatles. But after an international manhunt, they were sent back in disgrace.
Oh, they made international headlines, but they never met the boys. Almost 60 years later, one of those girls found out that Paul McCartney had actually read all about it in the papers and had wanted to meet her.
Well, she's written a book about it now. So Janice Hawkins joins us now from her home in the USA. Her book is called My Ticket to Ride, How I Ran Away to England to Meet the Beatles and Got Rock and Roll Banned in Cleveland. Janice, a very good morning to you.
Good morning.
So you'll have to tell us the story. Obviously, you and your friend were completely mad about the Beatles way back in 1964.
Yes, that's true. We were Beatlemaniacs, the first probably in Cleveland, Ohio, and we just couldn't get enough of them. You know, back in those days, there was no technology whatsoever, no internet, no way to really know about the Beatles except listening to the music on the radio. So that's how I first heard "I Want to Hold Your Hand" was on my transistor radio in the kitchen. And that song just like took over my whole being, and I was just filled with happiness and delight. And I guess I was just one of millions. And my friend and I decided that, I didn't have the happiest home life at the time, and she had a little bit better than me. And I was reading a Beatle magazine, and it said, "Oh, they hang out in Soho in London." So I said to my friend, this is it, Soho, we're going. And she volunteered her college fund for the trip because she said she had no plans to go to college anyway. It was her parents' idea. She wanted to get married, find a nice boy. So we began planning. And throughout the summer, we managed to get our passports. We did everything the right way. We bought 2 one-way tickets, one way to London. But one thing that was really important that we had to do first was the Beatles were going to be appearing at the Cleveland Public Auditorium. So we had to make sure we got tickets for that. As soon as we won our tickets, that was it. We were leaving the next day. There was no reason to stay beyond that. So the next morning, instead of going to school, I walked over to my friend's house, called a taxi cab. All my clothes were already there in suitcases. The taxi came, we went to the airport, and we started our trip to London.
Wow, you must have been very excited, but literally no research. You didn't know where you were going to go or how to meet them at all. You ended up staying in a hotel in London, I think, did you?
For the first 2 nights, and then I said, look, this is just too expensive. We have to rent an apartment. So somebody at the hotel recommended a real estate lady named Gwen, and she was very delighted to help us find a nice little suite, a little flat in Holland Park. So we loved it. It had everything we needed, including cookware, bedding, no TV, no radio though. But we didn't care because we weren't there to watch television or to listen to the radio or to read the newspaper. We were there to get to Soho. And that's what we started to do.
So then, how did you then find out, Janice, that there was this international hunt for you?
I had no idea until the very last day. I wasn't trying to hide anything. Everybody knew who I was and what my name was and where I came from. I figured that no one was really looking for me. It was that teenage thinking like, oh, my relatives are probably so happy that I'm gone. So I kind of lived by that. So it wasn't until I was walking down Oxford Street on, I think, day 22 days we were there, with my friend, who was a very, very sweet, charming young boy, a little bit older than me, maybe. His name was Mick. And what made him so wonderful is that he was from Liverpool and he was a musician and he dressed really cool, all black clothes, those black Beatle boots, smoked cigarettes using, 2 fingers and, like you see in the movies. And he was just the coolest boy. So we're walking down Oxford Street and I see a policeman in the distance. And as soon as I saw him look in my direction, I knew it was up, it was over. And then he came walking over to me and he said, oh, excuse me, miss, but would you happen to be from the United States? And I said, yes, I am. He said, are you from Cleveland, Ohio? Yes, I am. Why do you ask? Because he said, well, there's 2 girls here on vacation and they haven't written to their parents and their parents are quite worried about them. And I said, aha, well, there must be hundreds of girls here from Cleveland. Why me? That's when I found out that they had photos of us. He said, well, you seem to resemble one of them. Why don't we just take a little walk over to the police station? But he was so nice. We go over there. I see the missing posters of the 2 of us. And I look up and I said, oh, now I see why you made the mistake, because the resemblance is uncanny. Yes, I had the nerve to say that. So anyway, we had to have
in the end, the authorities. Sorry, Janice, just to cut it a little shorter. In the end, the authorities decided that you must be literally just put on a plane and sent back home.
Well, it wasn't quite that easy because we had to go over to the United States Embassy, where the Embassy Council said that Cleveland wanted us back, but we had a choice. We could either go back on our own steam and come back whenever we wanted, or we'd have to be deported. So I said, well, I'm going back on my own steam. So They already had a plane. They made us do a press conference on the steps of the embassy. It was unbelievably horrible. I had never experienced anything like that. And then they took us to Heathrow.
And you were sent back home. But what you didn't know at the time is something like you found out later, is that Paul McCartney had read about you at the time and had actually wanted to meet you.
I had no idea. They didn't tell us anything like that at all. I didn't know until I was trying to find more newspaper stories, research for my book. And I found a couple of newspaper articles that said, and the Beatles manager had Paul McCartney on standby to come and say hello and goodbye. I just read that like 2 years ago, and I couldn't believe it. I just couldn't believe that after everything that I went through to get there, that they denied even just that hello and goodbye. Even though they threw us to the wolves with the press conference, I would have much rather spent that time with Paul McCartney, obviously.
I mean, there's a good chance now that this, obviously, we're talking to you and it's been in the papers over here in the UK. There's a good chance Sir Paul is aware of it again. Do you think he might reach out?
Well, he did the first time.
Yes, he did.
So,
it was the US Embassy, I think, who stopped him doing it. He's in London today, at the moment, actually, because he's pictured in the papers there with his daughter Mary. So he's in London. You should pop over again, Janice.
I'll just get right on the plane.
Yeah, and that's your book behind you, I think. There, the book that you've just written about your escapade as a 16-year-old. Can't believe it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we can see.
Yes, and that picture is actually. I'm sorry, I'm getting in the way of myself. That's me in the embassy limousine being driven from the embassy to Heathrow Airport, and they didn't call him paparazzi then, but there was a man with a camera on the back of a scooter who managed to get up right to the window, calling out my name, Janice, Janice, and I just turned and I just waved and smiled.
Did you get into much trouble at home when you got home? Were you in trouble?
Totally. Trouble like I couldn't even believe.
Oh,
we've lost you. I think we've lost Janice. But I think we can bring you back. Can we? We want to hear about the trouble you got into, Janice, if you're there. Oh, you are still there. Great. Yeah, tell us about the trouble.
Okay, so when the plane landed in Cleveland, it was perfect because it was dark, it was pouring rain, and I had no idea what was happening. The detectives had escorted us from JFK on the plane, and now here we were. They just dragged me into a police car, winding through the dark rainy streets, on my way and landing at some building that I had no idea where I was until I got inside. I said, well, where am I? And a woman said, what do you mean, where are you? Don't you know where you are? And I said, no. She said, you're in juvie. I said, what's juvie? She said, you know nothing. I said, she said, the juvenile detention home. What am I doing here? So anyway, they kept us overnight there. It was totally punitive, because there was no reason, because we had been told we did nothing wrong. So then we had to go to court, and the Judge Gagliardo, he made sure that he had reporters there, which you couldn't do that today because he needed to make a speech to say he had taken his daughter to the same Beatles concert we went to. And he was appalled by what he saw, the behavior of all the girls rushing to the front. And he said, any parent who did not accompany their child to that concert should hang their head in shame. And here are two girls that were perfectly normal before they started listening to this evil rock and roll music.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that was the statement he wanted to make. So he banned us.
Attitude from the past.
He banned?
Yeah, right? Banned us from attending any concerts whatsoever. And the next morning, the mayor of Cleveland went right off of that and said that this type of music did not serve the culture of the community whatsoever. Banned rock and roll, banned Beatlemania. Oh my gosh. Oh. And that very night, the Rolling Stones were going to be appearing at the same theater that the Beatles had a great show. And the parents would not allow their children to go to the concert, so there were only a few people there. And I read later on that the Stones were absolutely furious about this.
I'll bet.
And their manager demanded an apology from the judge and the mayor. So he didn't get that.
No, I bet they didn't. Oh, it's absolutely fascinating and a real little bit of history. Janice, a real pleasure to talk to you.
Yeah, good luck with the book. It's an amazing story. And thank you so much for staying up late to talk to us here early morning.
Wonderful to meet you.
And you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Oh,
and Sir Paul, if you're watching, because he
Yes.
does, if you're watching at the moment, give Janice a call.
Yeah, get in touch. I can imagine that'd make a year.
Yeah.
After the break, we've got more of your views and we'll find out what Brexit means for Valentine roses.
GB News is the UK's home of discussion and debate.
From all perspectives.
To stay up to date on the latest stories,
make sure that you subscribe to the GB News channel right here on YouTube.
You can watch us live 24/7 across the whole world.
You can also check out exclusive content and catch up on previous episodes of your favourite shows. Every day, we ask the questions
that you'd ask, so why not add your voice to the conversation in the comments section?
Don't forget to subscribe. We are GB News, Britain's news channel.
Every night at 11 on GB News, we bring you the next day's stories the day before.
It's basically like time travel.
If it's a big story, we'll cover it, guaranteed. But we'll also have some fun along the way.
Big opinions, big laughs. Sometimes big hair.
This is
Headliners, the paper review show that won't send you to sleep like the others will.
11 p.m, 7 nights a week. Join us.
Hello there, I'm Eamon Holmes.
And I'm Isabel Webster.
And we hope you can join us for
Breakfast with Eamon.
And Isabel.
You make me laugh out loud, belly laugh.
Is that important first thing in the morning?
Yeah, absolutely.
And there's me trying to be deadly serious. News is a serious business.
Yeah, I have to rein you in sometimes.
Well, it doesn't stop us laughing at it. It doesn't stop us having an opinion on what's going on.
Yeah.
And it certainly will not stop us reflecting what you think.
Weekdays from 6 to 9:30 on GB News.
I'm Dan Wootton. Join me Monday to Thursday from 9 to 11 for the feistiest and most fun news debate on TV, where free speech reigns. I'll bring you a sharp take on the day's biggest stories, bombshell newsmaker interviews, and A-list guests. And I guarantee you, no spin, no bias, no censorship, and no reason to go to bed. That's Dan Wootton tonight, Monday to Thursdays from 9 on GB News.
Oh, it's very, very nearly 7:30. This is Breakfast with Stephen and Anne across the UK on your TV and your radio.
Yeah, lots of people have been sending in photos of you watching GB News. Scott says, GB News is a massive help to me during these early morning feeds from Dad Scott and baby Ewan in East Kilbride in Glasgow. Second one from East Kilbride. Oh, look, the baby there.
Gorgeous.
Oh, that's nice.
Andrew said, watching from Dunedin, New Zealand this afternoon.
Wow.
Awesome show.
Awesome show, yeah, this afternoon. And Alan says, good morning, Stephen and Anne. Lovely day here in Malta.
Oh, very nice.
Oh, very nice.
Love it. Keep those thoughts coming
Love the
through.
interior decor, please. Lots of shots of interior decor.
Keep her
It's nice to see what people's kitchens are like.
It is.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, suppliers to Northern Ireland are increasingly avoiding paperwork and checks, instead making their way via other avenues.
As a result, products, including flowers, are now becoming so expensive, upcoming Valentine's Day has just become so much more costly.
Well, our Northern Ireland reporter, Doogie Beattie, has the latest.
Politics, passion, prices and the protocol. And don't forget the pandemic. The EU's influence knows no bounds. The price of flowers has risen and the paperwork around imports has meant goods now head to the Republic before travelling north. Beth Lunny has ran Saintfield nurseries for years and found with the protocol her former suppliers are now taking a different route.
We would start maybe taking their first load of roses before Christmas. What has happened now is we're not allowed to bring them over. But it turned out I was speaking to one of the lorry drivers who was delivering stuff to me from Holland, and I was asking him how things were going. And he told me that he'd taken a full load of bare root roses down to the Republic of Ireland. He had taken them via one of the Dublin ports from England. So they were able to go in there. We're not allowed to buy them. They were able to go in there. So they went in via from England to the Republic. They went to a nursery in Kildare. They were potted up, and then we had to buy them that way. From there, we weren't able to get roses anywhere else.
Tracy Burrows owns Floral Creations and is facing similar problems and finds it all so very frustrating.
Since even the word Brexit was even mentioned, prices have just increased, like beyond what we could ever have foreseen. You know, like sometime one week you could go in and buy, you know, a bunch of something from the wholesalers and it's one price, and then like 2 days later you could go in and there could be a 60% difference in the prices. Obviously, whenever it comes to peak seasons as well, it's not the florists making all the money. Prices have just jumped so much, and we have no control over that, and it's just soul destroying whenever you're buying your flowers from the suppliers.
In the words of Brian Ferry, what is the price of love, and will we still be expecting roses on Valentine's Day?
He never did, so I'm not expecting them. Okay.
I don't know. I think I might, for I love her so much.
No, I would die of shock. I think he'd been up to something if he came over with roses.
Definitely. I'm worth more than money.
I knew I'd find an advantage to the protocol somewhere. Saving money, plastic flowers. Who ever said romance was dead? Dougie Beattie, GB News, County Down.
Oh no, you cannot do Valentine's Day with plastic roses.
Dougie.
Really not on. Even if they are very expensive now because of the political situation in Northern Ireland, surely not plastic.
No, just a quick word from Mike Pope this morning. Morning, Mike. Hi from North East Somerset. Jacob Rees-Mogg was having a drink in our local restaurant, Midsummer Norton, yesterday. A fine MP, he says. And no, we're not all farmers.
No, definitely not.
No.
Stay with us for the moment because we've got plenty more to come, including a look at the Sunday papers and a relationship expert to give you all the Valentine's Day advice you need.
GB News is the UK's home of discussion and debate
from all perspectives.
To stay up to date on the latest stories,
make sure that you subscribe to the GB News channel
right here on YouTube.
You can watch us live 24/7 across the whole world.
You can also check out exclusive content and catch up on previous episodes of your favourite shows.
Every day, we ask the questions
that you'd ask, so why not add your voice to the conversation in the comments section?
Don't forget to subscribe. We are GB News, Britain's news channel.
Every night at 11 on GB News, we bring you the next day's stories the day before.
It's basically like time travel.
If it's a big story, we'll cover it, guaranteed. But we'll also have some fun along the way.
Big opinions, big laughs. Sometimes big hair.
This is
Headliners, the paper review show that won't send you to sleep like the others will.
11 p.m, 7 nights a week. Join us.
Hello there, I'm Eamon Holmes.
And I'm Isabel Webster.
And we hope you can join us for
Breakfast with Eamon
and Isabel.
You make me laugh out loud, belly laugh.
Is that important first thing in the morning?
Yeah, absolutely.
And there's me trying to be deadly serious. News is a serious business.
Yeah, I have to rein you in sometimes.
Well, it doesn't stop us laughing at it. It doesn't stop us having an opinion on what's going on.
Yeah.
And it certainly will not stop us reflecting what you think.
Weekdays from 6 to 9:30 on GB News.
I'm Dan Wootton. Join me Monday to Thursday from 9 to 11 for the feistiest and most fun news debate on TV, where free speech reigns. I'll bring you a sharp take on the day's biggest stories, bombshell newsmaker interviews, and A-list guests. And I guarantee you, no spin, no bias, no censorship, and no reason to go to bed. That's Dan Wootton Tonight, Monday to Thursdays from 9 on GB News.
Oh, it's 7:36. You're watching and listening to Breakfast with Stephen and Anne across the UK on your TV and your radio. I'm struggling to say that every time this morning.
Yeah.
It's because I'm put off by Kanya McCalla. Morning, Kanya, who said, why is there a plate of potatoes in front of me on the desk?
They do look like potatoes.
Yes, they do. They're bagels.
Yeah.
Bagels.
Are they fresh?
Yeah.
They're not props. They're not plastic.
No, not like Doogie's Road.
But I quite agree. They do look a bit like potatoes.
I like a bagel, though.
Yes, me too. Nice smoked salmon and cream cheese.
Oh.
Very nice.
There you go.
Yeah.
Do you want a few papers?
Yeah, shall we rattle through the front pages for you? Just tell you what's on the front pages. The Sunday Times focuses on remarks made by the British Defence Secretary Ben Wallace, who has said there's a whiff of Munich in the air as he refers to Allied attempts to appease Hitler in 1938 before the start of the Second World War.
Russian President Vladimir Putin is preparing to create the circumstances in which the Kremlin could justify an invasion of Ukraine. That's according to the Sunday Telegraph. They say British sources believe what they call a false flag event could happen as soon as Wednesday.
Joe Biden is urging Vladimir Putin to pull back Russian troops as Washington warns an invasion would produce widespread human suffering.
Speaking of the consequences, President Biden is also warning President Putin that Russia will pay a heavy cost if it attacks the Ukraine. That's in the Observer this morning.
And the Sunday Express, well, Jacob Rees-Mogg has spoken exclusively to them and said Brexit will transform Britain and deliver such dividends that nobody will want to rejoin the European Union.
Let's go through those papers then in a bit more detail with radio presenter and journalist Pete Price and broadcaster and journalist Claire Muldoon.
Good morning again. Hello, nice to see you.
Let's kick off with the Sunday Mirror, Pete, and Sean Connery.
Yeah, before I mention this, can I say thank you to GB for putting the liver birds. Look at those liver birds. They say if they fly away, Liverpool will sink. So, and they will.
But they're still there.
Liverpool will always
at the
be
moment.
good.
So this story, dementia had such an impact on Sean. We hope that £1 million gift or $1 million gift will help. We need to throw every penny we can get at dementia. It is the most painful, dreadful thing to see. People, because people die twice. They die in front of you and then they die again. It is horrendous. And so many people are touched by dementia. I've had, over the years, I remember a lady coming on to my show saying, you know, she's got to put her mother in a home. She was distraught. She just couldn't handle it on her own. No. So I think it's great that Sean Connery's wife has given this
$1 million
to help with dementia. But it really is bad, isn't it?
I mean, it is awful, but it's part of the thing. It's the peril that we are all living longer. And you know, we get more, there's more of these sort of conditions developing things just because we are sort of in our bodies longer than maybe we're...
Yeah, but a lot of older people still...
sharp.
You
well,
know,
look at the Queen.
Yeah, well, look at me. Look at the Queen, yes.
Well, I mean, the Queen's 95.
Did Sean Connery suffer from dementia?
Towards the end,
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that. I don't think any of us knew at the time.
Yeah. But I think what your point on people dying twice is so right. My dad sadly passed away in November, just of last year. But he was previously diagnosed with dementia 3 years prior to that. And I lost my dad basically on that diagnosis. He became such a shadow of his former self. But my mum, God bless her, has managed to take care of him and keep him at home until he died. But it wasn't the dementia that got him. And it never really is. But, you know, on the flip side of that, there is a joke going forward that when we do all live to such extended years as we are currently, there'll be postmen turning up to do brain surgery and brain surgeons turning up because no one knows no one will remember what it was that they did.
Yeah. Well, I mean, just as you said, if dementia it feels as though it's around more because we are living longer, doesn't mean that we stop not trying to find a cure or at least effective treatment.
We must indeed find a cure because it's tragic, the pain it causes. Yeah. It really is tragic, you know.
Yeah. OK, let's talk fracking in the Sunday Telegraph, Claire. It's interesting because I mean, I've always been a bit concerned about fracking. When Nigel Farage was up in Blackpool the other week, I mean, which is one of the fracking areas,
yes,
they were all for it.
Yeah, really?
Well, the people in the audience there were all for it. I mean, we are sitting on huge reserves of gas.
And we're in an energy crisis.
This is the thing. This is the whole thing, the pros and cons of fracking. No one actually knows because it's not. We think it's this bad thing from America, this bad Trump way of getting energy sources. We are now forced to pay over the odds to an external supplier, international supplier, a global supplier of our energy when we have these resources in our own country? And I know the Cordrilla, I think, is the name of the company, who wanted to frack in the country. And as you quite rightly said, and as we were discussing in the break, Blackpool have closed the mine and they're going to fill it up with concrete, which makes me think it's never going to be able to be used. But, you know, the cons are seismic shifts in the Earth's plates, the tectonic plates, throwing up the chaos of earthquakes in this country, also the cost of it. But then on the flip side, you've got greener energy, less carbon footprint, much, much cheaper.
And could it be a stopgap? So whilst we look for more, you know, renewable sources and things like that?
Well, I think so.
But is it greener energy if we've got problems with these seismic movements and all the earthquakes that could potentially happen?
Well, that's
what
the
scares
risk,
me.
but that's
never been proved
it's never
either.
Been proven.
Right. No. So it's never been proven?
It's never been proved. And I just wonder if it couldn't be a stopgap while we clearly need to do more about green energy. And that's what we should... The only trouble is we haven't got it now. So can we have... Or I haven't got enough of it now. Can fracking maybe be a stopgap?
That's what I think. That's what I think. And you're going to cover a story about living costs. And I think we are faced with extenuating circumstances, not only in the public purse, but on the domestic purse, that's catching everybody out at the moment. And going forward, it's not going to be easy. We need to put our thinking caps on, get together and do something really, really good for society.
Well, if you're in one of those areas where there has been these sort of fracking tests, get in touch this morning. Love to know what you think about that. Because, I mean, there were some tremors in the northwest when they were doing some test fracking.
That was you driving your Mercedes-Benz, was it not?
Oh, well, it might have been. Yeah, it might
in Cumbria?
So
it's all right for you
cost of
laughing,
living.
There's not much to laugh at in the Mail on Sunday, is there? With, as Claire was saying, looking at the cost of living and pasta and tomatoes going up.
Yeah, it says here pasta soars 40% and tomatoes up 30% in the food price squeeze. The reason I picked that story is to talk about the bigger picture without any shadow of a doubt. We're talking about heating bills, gas, electricity, etc. And while that's happening and while it's in the papers, everything's going up in price. Everything's getting smaller. Have you noticed? Have you noticed the size of the biscuit that you eat has gone smaller? Everything is going smaller. And it's, you know, it's not a joke. It's a problem because the cost of living is quietly going up. Scandalous prices.
It's going to make having an Italian meal very expensive, isn't it? If pasta and of course pasta was the cheapest
ever. But it is a story about the pasta, but it's the bigger picture I picked that story for because prices are going up and the cost of the basket is like £2-3 more. It really is frightening.
Yeah, it is going up all the time. Look, we've got to leave it there for now, but we will see you both a little bit later on. Pete Price, Claire Muldoon.
Thank you. Now, we're very much focused on love today because it is Valentine's Day tomorrow. And we're asking what you've got planned, whether it's going to be a day filled with romance or you're struggling to inject some vavavoom into your love life.
Oh dear.
Perhaps you need some advice from a relationship psychologist. Well, Dr. Pam Spur joins us now to answer all of our questions and yours too.
Yes.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Hello. Do you think Valentine's Day is as important as it used to be? It puts a lot of pressure on us, doesn't it?
It puts a horrible amount of pressure on everyone. And I always say to people, do not buy into the hype. Do not go to the restaurants where they're doubling the prices just to put a plastic rose on your table. So it's really crucial that you do something that works for you. And if you are going to celebrate on the day, and of course it's a Monday, it's easier to do something like remember to just have a little picnic on your sitting room floor, candlelit, make it simple. But what's more important is I say use Valentine's Day as a time to think about your relationship and what you can do to improve it. And there's always room for improvement.
I'll ask Pam, does it only pile pressure on people if their love lives are struggling already? Because if you're in a happy relationship, well, it's
lovely.
It's just a nice day, isn't it?
Exactly. Stephen, you've hit the nail on the head. So many people are struggling. If you look at relationship statistics, about 6 in 10 couples will say they have major issues. So that kind of speaks to the divorce rate where 4 in 10 couples will divorce. So what's really crucial is if you're struggling, look at what you two do well together. and do more of it. So maybe when you take the dog for a walk in the morning, that's when you two have the best times. That's when you can talk. Do more of it. Make sure you both do that together. And if you have something that you need to discuss with them because you need them to help improve whatever the problem is, start with a positive. Tell them what they do that is respectful, that's helpful, that's loving. So start with that positive and then say, but we need to look at this area of our life. So you go into any difficult conversation with that positive feeling that you two can do something about the issues you face.
Is Valentine's Day a good day for, I don't know, confrontation about your relationship? One of our lovely viewers gave us a question which says, we're seeing each other but only agreed to be friends. However, I want more. Should I give it a bit of a push on Valentine's Day or should I back away?
It's the perfect sort of, it gives you that perfect excuse to send a more flirty message, doesn't it? Because if it backfires and they say, no, I just want to keep you as a friend, you can say, well, I was just kind of joking. It's Valentine's. So I think always keep those sort of things when you want to nudge someone along, keep it delicate, a light touch. Don't storm in with, I really want more from you. When are you going to see that we work together? Because that makes someone a bit scared and pushes them away. And ultimately, maybe they're not the right person for you if they only see you as a friend when you see them as someone more. And you have to decide whether you want to keep them as a friend or you want to keep trying to nudge them down that path.
I was going to say, if you've got to do a lot of legwork, particularly at the beginning of a relationship, is that a sign that, what's that phrase? They're just not into you.
Yes, absolutely. If it's hard at the beginning, just think what it's like when you two decide to share the domestic chores or, when you move in together. It's going to be even worse. In the honeymoon phase, it should be fun. You should be fizzing with sort of sexual chemistry. So if it's hard in the first couple months, it's only going to get harder.
Well, it's 10 to 8 in the morning. I don't think it's too early to talk about things like that. So how about this one? How can we inject...
fizzing already.
How can we inject romance into our relationship again when we have young children around?
Oh, Anne, good one. We've been there. We all, we've had children. I know, from your family and everything. It's always hard when there are children. And as Valentine falls on a Monday, it makes it even trickier. Because on a Monday after work, the kids are around, who wants to be romantic? Make it tonight. We've got the time. Tuck them in bed early. Have your partner go out and just get, your favorite drink, your favorite tipple, and your favorite chocolates, and just share a little time together. Take the pressure off. It does not have to be on Valentine's Day. I rarely celebrate with my other half Valentine's on Valentine's Day. Certainly not if it's a weeknight because we both work, we both get up early, So plan it around this time, but it doesn't have to be tomorrow.
I like that. Get the kids in bed early tonight.
Yes. Yeah. The key to all of this is if it's true romance, I guess it just doesn't have to cost a lot of money. It is those little love tokens that make all the difference, isn't it?
Absolutely. One of the best gifts my other half gave me was a DVD of the first film we ever saw together, which was 4 Weddings and a Funeral. And it was like, this was our first film date here, and he sent it, he put a little note in it. And I just thought, that's brilliant. I love this. The fact that he remembered 25 years back, we'd seen 4 Weddings and a Funeral together as our first film. So simple things like that. Maybe one of the compilation CDs of the year you met. Or they've have a favorite film that from when they were young and when in their youth and their teenagers years or whatever. Get them a copy of that. Sort of things that stoke the memories. The good memories are always good presents. You don't have to run out and buy roses. Come on, be more creative, and it's cheaper to be creative.
It is. Not always appreciated. It depends how you do it, I suppose. Yeah. Pam, thank you so much. That's absolutely brilliant advice. I hope you have a good Valentine's night tonight, maybe. or tomorrow.
Pam Diamond.
But we've got... Yeah, no, thank you very much, Pam. But we're going to be talking Valentine's food a bit later on. What are you giggling about? We are going to be talking about Valentine's food later on, the cheaper ways to do it. You don't have to go out to an expensive restaurant.
No, you don't. But I mean, Robert has been doesn't celebrate Valentine's Day because he's been single for 10 years. Well,
okay,
you wouldn't.
Well,
But
I
to
know, and
celebrate
Valentine's
last
Day does
year-
underline that. If you're single,
If
you
you're
suddenly
single,
have to think,
it's
I haven't
rotten
got
if you're
anyone.
single.
Yeah.
It really is. But to celebrate last year, I had my first COVID vaccination on Valentine's Day. Oh, good for you.
Yeah, well, that's something, isn't it?
Good.
Yeah. And we were talking as well about apparently expensive weddings make for short marriages. Is that true? And lots of people have been calling in with their views on that. Nada says, not all women want big weddings. When we were planning ours, I said a wedding is just one day, and we spent $3,000 on ours. I'd rather spend money on travelling to some great places that we've always wanted to see.
Yeah, Bill agrees with me. Quite right too, Bill. Who says small weddings and a focus on being married rather than the event is a good sign for a long marriage. We had 9 people at our registry office, some food afterwards at home and 2 nights away in a B&B, and we've been gloriously happily married now for 36
Oh, well done. Andy can top that. He says 1998, licence, registry office, family, close friends only, sandwiches and first round of drinks in the pub next door. Change from £100.
Oh, that's a little bit tight.
Is it?
Do you think? A friend of mine who got married said they did it they had the registry office and the reception in the local pub just for just a very small number of people, and they're blissfully happy.
No, that's wonderful.
So I mean, I love all of that, but
Well, you do it in your own way. That's the point, I suppose.
The trouble is, if you go to booking a venue and things, it does cost a lot of money these days, and you say 30 grand is the average. I mean, you can do it a lot cheaper than that, but still, you're looking at 10, 15.
Yeah.
Really, still a lot of money.
Stephen and Sonia say it was said that small weddings make for long marriages. Now we know we weren't wrong. Been together 48 years.
Oh,
that's good.
Lovely. Peter was married at the British Embassy in Seoul in 1972.
Gosh.
Just the 2 of us and the British consul present.
Oh.
No honeymoon. In December, we will celebrate our 50th, your golden
wedding.
We had a very varied international life along the way, living in more than 20 countries, so we've made up for the frugal beginning. That's nice.
I got married in 2010, says Frank, in Thailand, to a wonderful woman. The total cost for the wedding and rings and a 4-night honeymoon in Phuket came in at under $2.5 grand. And that included the return airfares from the UK, from Udon Thani, how do you say it? Udon Thani to Phuket. And the main thing is, my wife felt like a princess for the day, and she still is to me.
Oh, you old soppy romantic.
But that is why people spend a lot of money on weddings, because it does give, particularly the woman maybe, I'm probably wrong to say only the woman, but it gives you that feeling of everything you ever dreamt of when you were younger, being the princess for a day. Much cheaper though. You go to Disney and you go to one of their makeover suites and you can be made up to look like a Disney princess for the day, and I think it's a bit cheaper than 30 grand.
It probably is. I love that Frank's included a little picture. I don't think we've got it on screen.
Yeah, that's right.
But lovely with family and your wife's family there. It's a lovely. I mean, I love all that. I'm all for romance.
Now this report that says that inexpensive, cheap weddings make for longer marriages, but they also say the main thing is to keep the cost down, but to have lots of family and friends there. Because they still reckon that if you have lots of family and friends, you're making that commitment in front of the people you love and who love you.
Yes.
And that's very important. If you make this sort of big commitment in front of others, that is also a secret for success, apparently, as far as weddings are concerned, marriages are concerned.
But if you're worried about the cost, I saw something just the other day, I think it's from the States, actually, but people who they were sent not an invitation, but a note to say, we're very upset that we can't invite you to the wedding, but we just haven't got enough room. But you will be in our thoughts on the day. However, if you would like to contribute to our honeymoon, here's a link. Please send no less than $200 or whatever it was.
Ooh, really?
You've got to have some nerve to do that, haven't you?
Yeah, that's a bit stunning, isn't it?
It didn't work. I wish I'd done that now.
You're going to have a nice honeymoon, aren't you?
Yes.
Yeah.
A week.
You're going away. Yeah.
Be lovely.
Have you told the bosses here you want a week off yet?
Yes, I am.
It's because they may not know. They may not give you enough.
Oh, someone in my ear saying only a week. Yes, it's enough.
Yeah, that's enough. That's enough.
Stay with it. Send us all your thoughts. It goes without saying almost, but we need to tell you anyway.
I want to know if you can still get your wedding dress on.
Oh, yeah.
Years later.
Yeah.
Actually, mine had an elasticated waist because I just had a baby. So, I mean, that was a different story. Different story entirely, but there you go.
Stuff you never knew you needed to know.
No.
That's what we hear from you. GBNews at gbnews.uk. Stay with us. We've got plenty more to come, including a look at Jacob Rees-Mogg's vision for post-Brexit Britain. Well, the UK is looking very unsettled as heavy, persistent rain and strong winds spread across the country. And these are the details for you. In the southwest, a very wet morning and the rain will continue through to lunchtime. Drier weather waiting out in the west will arrive later on in the day. For London and the southeast, cloudy as we head towards midday, but it should be mostly dry before turning unsettled this afternoon. Across Wales, a very wet and windy picture of heavy rain, heaviest over the hills and mountains and gales and exposed areas. The rain will break up through the afternoon. In the Midlands, about lunchtime, the rain turns heaviest and most persistent. The winds will strengthen too, making conditions difficult if you're heading out on the road. After a very wet and windy morning, northeastern England should become drier. Some breaks about midday, though there'll still be plenty of rain around and the wind staying strong for a while. Heavy rain pushing across the southern half of Scotland as we head towards lunchtime. Further north, it's going to be drier, sunnier and calmer, albeit with a few showers. Now, after a very wet start in Northern Ireland, the rain will be starting to ease by the afternoon. It's going to take a while to clear completely, and some rain will linger. So the worst of the unsettled weather will clear away by tonight, with clearer skies in the west.
GB News is the UK's home of discussion and debate
from all perspectives.
To stay up to date on the latest stories,
make sure that you subscribe to the GB News channel
right here on YouTube.
You can watch us live 24/7 across the whole world.
You can also check out exclusive content and catch up on previous episodes of your favourite shows.
Every day, we ask the questions
that you'd ask, so why not add your voice to the conversation in the comments section?
Don't forget to subscribe. We are GB News, Britain's news channel.
Every night at 11 on GB News, we bring you the next day's stories the day before.
It's basically like time travel.
If it's a big story, we'll cover it, guaranteed. But we'll also have some fun along the way.
Big opinions, big laughs. Sometimes big hair.
This is
Headliners, the paper review show that won't send you to sleep like the others will.
11 p.m, 7 nights a week. Join us.
Hello there, I'm Eamon Holmes.
And I'm Isabel Webster.
And we hope you can join us for
Breakfast with Eamon
and Isabel.
You make me laugh out loud, belly laugh.
Is that important first thing in the morning?
Yeah, absolutely.
And there's me trying to be deadly serious. News is a serious business.
Yeah, I have to rein you in sometimes.
Well, it doesn't stop us laughing at it. It doesn't stop us having an opinion on what's going on.
Yeah.
And it certainly will not stop us reflecting what you think.
Weekdays from 6 to 9:30 on GB News.
I'm Dan Wootton. Join me Monday to Thursday from 9 to 11 for the feistiest and most fun news debate on TV, where free speech reigns. I'll bring you a sharp take on the day's biggest stories, bombshell newsmaker interviews, and A-list guests. And I guarantee you, no spin, no bias, no censorship, and no reason to go to bed. That's Dan Wootton Tonight, Monday to Thursdays from 9 on GB News.
Morning to you. It's 8 o'clock on Sunday, the 13th of February, and this is Breakfast on GB News with Stephen and Anne.
And we're live across the whole of the UK on both your TV and your radio, and online all over the world. Wherever you want to watch us, you can. Let us know as well. We'd like to see pictures of you looking at us, please. Take us with you wherever you go, and remember, you can catch up with everything on the programme via the GB News app.
Well, coming up for you this morning, Joe Biden has warned Vladimir Putin that the US would impose swift and severe costs on Russia were it to invade Ukraine. More than a dozen countries have now asked their citizens to leave the country.
And in his first interview since becoming the Minister for Brexit Opportunities and Government Efficiency, Jacob Rees-Mogg has outlined his vision for post-Brexit Britain in the Sunday Express. We'll be speaking to the paper's political editor in just a few minutes.
Also coming up, an aardvark has been born at Chester Zoo for the first time in its 90-year history. The baby has been called Dobby, and if you're listening on the radio, try and picture Dobby from Harry Potter, and it looks just like him.
Well, you can join in any of our discussions by emailing gbviews@gbnews.uk or tweet @gbnews.
And it's lovely to know where you are this morning. It's why we like the emails, it's why we like the pictures, but we've also got some very sort of scientific data and things. We can tell you this morning that our biggest audiences so far this morning are in, if you're watching there, let us know, Merthyr Tydfil, Torbay, Isle of Wight, East Renfrewshire, Poole, Poole's gorgeous.
Poole, jolly good.
Hereford, Shrewsbury or Shrewsbury?
Shrewsbury.
Shrewsbury.
Yeah.
Crouton.
I don't know where Crouton is.
I don't know where Crouton is.
If you're
Crouton,
it should have a GH, I think.
Oh, should it?
I don't know.
Right on the auto cue.
It looks like Crouton.
Crouton.
Sorry about that.
Crouton.
We've just offended everybody in Crouton.
Yes, apologies. Doncaster and Sefton. And don't forget, if you want to listen on the radio, you can tune in on DAB+, and we're on the TuneIn app as well, and the Radio Player app. So just download those and search for GB News.
Yeah, lots of you have been sending photos in already of you and GB News this morning, right from across the world, so thank you very much. Bill says, I'm watching you while I'm seated here in the little village of Orting in Washington State.
Oh, wow. Good morning
fab.
to you.
Good morning.
I'd love to go to Washington State. Jake says, hello from the Netherlands. Great news channel, plenty of topics discussed and something for everyone. Good luck for the future.
That's very interesting.
Who's, is that?
Yes, Alice Cooper.
Do you know, I met Alice Cooper on another channel. He came in, and let me tell you, if you're an Alice Cooper fan, he is so intelligent and so kind.
Oh, good.
And he left me, I didn't ask for one, but he left me a signed picture saying, from your pal, Alice Cooper.
Oh, isn't that nice?
It's really nice.
It's so lovely to hear, isn't it, when you meet somebody like that? It's so lovely to hear that they are nice, because you often worry that, you know...
Especially with that image. And the image is always
exactly.
He's so intelligent.
Oh, good.
It's, like, really impressive.
Great stuff. We've had another one from Anthony, who says, we're watching you from our bedroom in Finland.
Oh, lovely.
Very good morning to you.
I wonder whereabouts in Finland you are. I've been to the very north of Finland, right on the Russian border for one of those winter holiday things, where I saw the Northern Lights.
Northern Lights, yeah.
And it was very, very cold, but so beautiful.
That's why you went there.
Up there.
Yeah.
So, so beautiful.
No, do let us know, wherever you're watching us. We would love to know. And we want your views on, well, everything we're talking about at the moment. But we have been talking about Valentine's Day. Is it all it's cooked up to be? Certainly we're going to be cooking a bit later on, looking at Valentine's food. And also whether big weddings make for short marriages.
Myra's been in touch about Valentine's Day. We had a Valentine's meal from Morrison's last night. Only cost 15 quid. We had roasted mushroom pate, followed by beef Wellington, new potatoes, mixed green veg, followed by lemon cheesecake.
Ooh.
Absolutely brilliant value for money.
Lemon
15 quid for two of you.
I know, they're astonished. That's what we're going to be looking at, is the sort of meal deals, Valentine's Day meal deals that you can get from most of our major supermarkets, and they are very good value by the look of it. Rosemary says, we got married in 1970. Register office, homemade buffet for 50 at my parents' 3-bed semi. Good Lord, how did you get them all in? A beautiful day, honeymoon in a caravan in Cornwall. We saved for our first house. We're now living in a 4-bedroom detached house, 2 kids, 4 grandchildren. Still friends and lovers after 51 years.
Oh, yes.
I think we got it right.
That's perfect. I love that.
it.
Congratulations
Thank
to you,
you.
Rosemary.
Oh, one more.
Oh, go on.
Because I think we've got a picture with this one. Derek says, 60 years ago, my wife's family paid the entire costs for the wedding. At our granddaughter's forthcoming wedding, the costs have been spread across members of 2 families.
Oh.
Good idea. So you're going for a big wedding.
60 years ago, Derek. Oh, fond memories, I bet. Let's take through the main headlines for you this morning. And Minister for Brexit Opportunities and Government Efficiency, Jacob Rees-Mogg, has spoken to the Sunday Express. It's his first interview since becoming Minister for Brexit opportunities and government efficiency. That's going to be quite a big
It's a very long name. In the interview, apparently he's outlined his Brexit plan to transform Britain, saying the EU will look at us in horror while Britain becomes a loud hailer for the benefits of cutting ties with Brussels.
Well, the Sunday Express's political editor is David Maddox, and he joins us now. Really good to see you this morning, David. Spell it out then in a bit of detail what Jacob Rees-Mogg has had to say of his plans.
Yeah, so as you were saying, he was saying in 5 to 10 years, Britain will be so transformed that we won't want to go back to the EU, and or nobody will want us to go back to the EU, and perhaps most of all, the EU won't want us, actually, because we'll be so deregulated, so business-friendly. People's lives will be a lot easier, he hopes. It will be, consumer prices will be down. These are all kind of targets he's setting for the next few years.
Is he convincing?
I think he is. I mean, partly because this is what he's been arguing for so long. You know, he's actually, as he said, to us, his feet have been held to the political fire because he's been saying that, this is what Brexit will do for the country. And now he's got to actually deliver on it. So let's see if it's more than talk.
Well, there's going to be a lot of people looking at this, and perhaps even some people who voted for Brexit and want to see Britain do as well as possible, who are still going to say, it sounds a little bit pie in the sky.
Well, people will always say that, of course. And politicians, whatever politicians say always comes with a grain of salt, to say the least. But it's, we will see. I mean, we had a kind of 2-year hiatus because of the COVID pandemic. So the government really wasn't able to kind of visibly get on with this project. But to a certain degree, this is what Brexit's about. It's not about the moment of leaving the EU. It's about what it can do for people's lives and whether it can improve the country. So to a certain degree, Boris, Jacob and the rest of them who argued so strongly for it now have to really prove that it actually is good for the country and good for people.
Yes, indeed. I mean, you said that Brexit is what the business is about. Certainly, it's what this government is about, isn't it? Because this government was elected, we didn't even know a pandemic was on the horizon. This government was elected with a Brexit agenda, wasn't it?
Get Brexit done. That was the phrase throughout the election. It was that's what won them an 80-seat majority, and to a degree as well, all the problems around Boris Johnson and things in the last few weeks, a lot of his supporters have been arguing, maybe rightly or wrongly, but have been arguing, but actually that this is an attack on the kind of Brexit project, that he's the one man who could lead a government to get Brexit done and get the benefits of Brexit through and change the country in the way they want to see it changed. So, this is it. This is what he will ultimately be judged on, perhaps more than kind of birthday cake or even how he handled the pandemic.
Yeah, but it's all about planning, isn't it, in all of this? I mean, you say that Jacob Rees-Mogg, amongst others, has to deliver on this, but it's about getting into legislation and reality, indeed, projects that are going to bring prosperity to Britain. Well, at the moment, that seems a long way off when we're struggling as we are with this massive increase in the cost of living.
Yes, and really more than that, the whole aftermath to locking down the country and having to pay for a pandemic and pay businesses. We're seeing tax rises essentially to pay off some of that COVID debt. So they've got a big problem just to overcome the last 2 years, really. But Jacob's got as far as I can see, a kind of two-pronged attack on this. He's going to be going around the country. He's going to be eliciting the views of people, getting ideas from the kind of grassroots. As he puts it, he sees Brexit as a grassroots revolution, and he sees the ideas for deregulation or change of a country coming from normal people around the country. But there's also some big stuff going through Parliament which hadn't been really shouted about, partly because of the pandemic. Things like there's a procurement bill which will make it, in theory, much easier for small companies to take on corporations with government tenders. There's the Freeports bill, which creates these kind of mini tax havens around the country to kind of start major activity in some of the ports and things. So there's a lot going on, and hopefully a lot more in the coming months.
I mean, when you interviewed him, did you think he is the man to actually get it done? I know that people have he's a bit marmitey to people, isn't he? Some people think apparently he's an astonishingly good constituency MP, and some people think he talks a lot of sense. Other people say he's an upper-class twit. What was your reaction to him?
Well, I can tell you that Express readers are on the absolutely loving him side of the Marmite thing, which is perhaps why he gave us the interview. We always sell more papers with Jacob in it. In fact, he has a weekly Words of Wisdom column with us, which always goes down quite well. I think actually he is, because he's the guy who's been saying all these things for all these years, along with others. But and he is he's a very polite individual, very civilized individual, but he's quite determined in the way he goes about things, and he's quite effective getting things done or stopping things from being done in some cases. I mean, in his previous role of Leader of the House, we ran a story about how he and the Speaker got together to essentially stop MPs from having to be decanted from Parliament because neither of them wanted to happen, and that looked like a fait accompli. So, yeah, he's quite good at getting what he wants.
You mentioned about him sort of going around touring places and getting grassroots views, and in the paper it says Jacob needs your views. I'm always sort of a little bit torn on things like this, because don't they need to come to with ideas to us to see what we like? I mean, if you ask a class of 30 children what they want for lunch, you're going to get 30 different answers.
Yes, I guess it's. I think on the big stuff they know what they want. I mentioned things like Freeports and the procurement bill, and there's some other big kind of legislative reforms going through. But there's all sorts of small things that maybe government doesn't notice. I mean, Jacob's idea is that actually, the central government is not the source of all wisdom, but actually the collective wisdom of the British people has a lot more ideas and things, and that it's a good thing to listen to people and to their experiences.
Yeah. David Maddox, political editor of the Sunday Express. Really good to talk to you this morning.
Yeah, thank you very much.
If you've got any ideas for Jacob Rees-Mogg, I'm not saying we'll pass them on. That's a little bit beyond our remit. But let us know your thoughts.
Yes. Well, how would you advise him?
Yeah,
there he is in the Express, on the front of the Express, and if you want to read more about what he said, it's all in there. David Maddox wrote it.
Yes, and apparently Mr. Rees-Mogg wants your email, so
well, he's had 1,000 already, apparently.
Well,
so he's
good.
Got homework, and he's creating work for himself.
He is. But, it'd be interesting to see what you want out of all of this.
How would you advise him?
Let's bring you up to date with the headlines at 8:15, and the Defence Secretary says he fears a Russian attack on Ukraine is highly likely. Speaking to the Sunday Times, Ben Wallace said there is a whiff of Munich in the air, referring to diplomatic efforts which failed to prevent the Second World War.
The Labour Party is urging the government to learn lessons from the Afghanistan evacuation to help people leave Ukraine if Russia invades. The Shadow Foreign Secretary David Lammy is calling for phone lines to be staffed 24/7 and extra resources put in place to process visas.
The Prime Minister will leave London this week, insisting he's getting on with the job while still facing questions from police investigating alleged lockdown breaches. Number 10 says he'll start the week in Scotland at a manufacturing site before heading to an oncology centre in the northwest of England.
And the Mayor of London has pledged to oppose the appointment of a new Metropolitan Police Chief unless they have a robust plan to deal with the cultural problems at the force. Writing in The Observer, Sadiq Khan says he's deeply concerned that public trust in the country's biggest force has been shattered by a series of scandals.
Now, if you're on the radio, dig back in the memory to any pictures you may have seen over the last couple of days of adorable images on social media of the first ever baby aardvark born at Chester Zoo, which keepers have nicknamed Dobby after the character in Harry Potter.
And if you're listening, let me just tell you, if you've ever seen Dobby in Harry Potter, the little baby aardvark really does look like him. Absolutely cute, though. Joining us now is Megan Carpenter, who's a zookeeper at Chester Zoo. Good morning.
Good morning.
And congratulations on the arrival of this new baby. When did he arrive?
Born overnight on the 4th of January.
Ah, right. Wow. So he's grown a bit since then, probably. It's trebled in size. So. They're funny-looking things, aren't they? I don't know a lot about aardvarks. What are they?
They're kind of their own sort of thing. There's no other... At the moment, their populations are okay, but they do have several threats. So habitat loss, hunting for their meat, and they do come into conflict with farmers.
Oh, really? Can they be quite aggressive?
It's more the destruction of crops. If you can see those big claws that Dobby's got there, as they're digging for their food, ants and termites, they can sort of destroy crops that farmers might be growing.
Oh, I see. So they claw away at the ground and then stick that long nose in. Yeah. That's presumably why they've got the long nose.
Yes, they have a very good sense of smell and very good hearing, but not such great eyesight.
Oh, so if they're eating ants and termites, is that their main diet even when they're in captivity?
At the zoo, we do feed them insects, but we make them a special zoo diet that is, if you think of it, a little bit like a ant soup or ant milkshake.
Lovely.
Sounds really nice. But I'm sure it's lovely for Dobby. How difficult is it to look after him at the moment? He's still quite a vulnerable child.
We actually don't know if it's a boy or a girl, so we're saying it. Oh. Dobby's very good to look after, actually. So during the day, Dobby stays with its mum, Oni, where it does feed off her, bonds with her, sleeps with her. And then in the evening, one of us keepers will bring it home and just give it some supplement feeds with puppy milk. Other than that, Dobby basically just sleeps in this nice warm incubator. So really easy to look after.
Oh,
I mean, thank you for the video pictures that you sent us there. And it shows that Dobby is interacting with humans, such as yourself at the moment, keepers, which makes me have to ask the question, why can't you tell if he's a boy or a girl?
They're a little bit tricky. They're kind of quite odd-looking animals, and we're just focusing on just making sure that Dobby is well and healthy and growing. And hopefully in a few weeks we'll be able to have a look and be able to tell whether Dobby is a boy or a girl.
And how big will he grow? When he is adult, how big will he be?
Oni's usually about 45 kilos. But Dobby's dad, Koos, is closer to 50 kilos, so they're very big animals.
And it's quite a triumph that you've been able to breed, isn't it?
Yes, it is, yeah. There's not very many of them in zoos in Europe. There's only 66. There's not a huge amount known about them. And this is actually the first aardvark calf to be born in Chester Zoo's history of 90 years.
Well, congratulations.
It really is quite something. Megan, really good to talk to you this morning. Thank you.
That's interesting. He's a calf.
A calf?
Yeah, an aardvark calf.
Can't believe you asked that other question, though.
Well, I want to know. I want to know.
Some things just aren't obvious.
Well,
apparently.
Clearly, in the aardvark world, you have to wait to know.
If you are listening on the radio and you want to see Dobby, and believe you me, it is worth seeing.
Yeah.
Then get onto the GB News app and you can find you can play back the show and find us at 20 minutes past 8 from this morning and have a look at the pictures. It's worth doing.
Yeah, absolutely extraordinary animals on our planet, aren't there? Do stay with us because we have plenty more to come, including more of your views. First of all, though, the weather.
Well, the UK is looking very unsettled as heavy, persistent rain and strong winds spread across the country. And these are the details for you. In the southwest, a very wet morning and the rain will continue through to lunchtime. Drier weather waiting out in the west will arrive later on in the day. For London and the southeast, cloudy as we head towards midday, but it should be mostly dry before turning unsettled this afternoon. Across Wales, a very wet and windy picture of heavy rain, heaviest over the hills and mountains and gales and exposed areas. The rain will break up through the afternoon. In the Midlands, about lunchtime, the rain turns heaviest and most persistent. The winds will strengthen too, making conditions difficult if you're heading out on the road. After a very wet and windy morning, northeastern England should become drier. Some breaks about midday, though there'll still be plenty of rain around and the wind staying strong for a while. Heavy rain pushing across the southern half of Scotland as we head towards lunchtime. Further north, it's going to be drier, sunnier and calmer, albeit with a few showers. Now, after a very wet start in Northern Ireland, the rain will be starting to ease by the afternoon. It's going to take a while to clear completely, and some rain will linger. So the worst of the unsettled weather will clear away by tonight, with clearer skies in the west.
GB News is the UK's home of discussion and debate
from all perspectives.
To stay up to date on the latest stories,
make sure that you subscribe to the GB News channel
right here on YouTube.
You can watch us live 24/7 across the whole world.
You can also check out exclusive content and catch up on previous episodes of your favourite shows.
Every day, we ask the questions
that you'd ask, so why not add your voice to the conversation in the comments section?
Don't forget to subscribe. We are GB News, Britain's news channel.
Every night at 11 on GB News, we bring you the next day's stories the day before.
It's basically like time travel.
If it's a big story, we'll cover it, guaranteed. But we'll also have some fun along the way.
Big opinions, big laughs. Sometimes big hair.
This is
Headliners, the paper review show that won't send you to sleep like the others will.
11 p.m, 7 nights a week. Join us.
Hello there, I'm Eamon Holmes.
And I'm Isabel Webster.
And we hope you can join us for
Breakfast with Eamon
and Isabel.
You make me laugh out loud, belly laugh.
Is that important first thing in the morning?
Yeah, absolutely.
And there's me trying to be deadly serious. News is a serious business.
Yeah, I have to rein you in sometimes.
Well, it doesn't stop us laughing at it. It doesn't stop us having an opinion on what's going on.
Yeah.
And it certainly will not stop us reflecting what you think.
Weekdays from 6 to 9:30 on GB News.
I'm Dan Wootton. Join me Monday to Thursday from 9 to 11 for the feistiest and most fun news debate on TV, where free speech reigns. I'll bring you a sharp take on the day's biggest stories, bombshell newsmaker interviews, and A-list guests. And I guarantee you, no spin, no bias, no censorship, and no reason to go to bed. That's Dan Wootton Tonight, Monday to Thursdays from 9 on GB News.
This is Breakfast with Stephen and Anne. It is 8:25, and of course we're on your TV and your radio right across the UK.
and you really are literally actually, yes, watching us from all around the world. Around the world.
Breakfast with Pam Ayres.
It did feel a bit that way, didn't it? We've got some more photos that you sent in this morning. Diane says, I'm watching you both from Wokingham. Love the show. There she is. Oh, very nice kitchen. Had to get my Valentine flowers in. Well done. Thinking ahead. Valentine's Day tomorrow and we've got to plan.
Quite right. Richard and Francis say every Saturday and Sunday morning, awake early, in bed with pints of tea, watching you on the TV. Added bonus of the cat this morning.
Of course. Cat's watching
I
us.
love
Nice.
that. I love that.
John says, good morning. We're watching your fantastic morning show in Bulgaria on YouTube.
Excellent.
Brilliant.
Jolly
Thank
good.
you.
John is watching in Istra in Russia.
Excellent. Oh, what a
That looks
lovely
like
room.
log cabin.
Log cabin.
Very
yeah.
nice.
Andy says, I'm watching from the countryside outside Beijing whilst at the Olympics. It's snowing here and a chilly -15. Crumbs.
Wow.
But we're at the Olympics.
We're at the Olympics.
We're in Beijing.
Technology is amazing that we get it in GB News and we are just all around the world. I absolutely love it. Keep those pictures and thoughts coming through, gbviews@gbnews.uk. Also, your thoughts about Valentine's Day. Stephen, I want to say a particular good morning to. It's heartbreaking, Stephen, but I like your sentiment. It says, I shall be visiting my wife tomorrow who has advanced dementia. She no longer has the personality I married 32 years ago, so I live on memories of what was. True love conquers all.
Thank God for the memories, eh? Oh, that's really upsetting, isn't it? Just shows that not everybody's Valentine's Day is just going to be hearts and flowers.
No.
But by the sound of it, Stephen's going to do his very best.
It's the true love thing. I think that's amazing, Stephen.
Yeah.
Amazing.
All right, let's cheer us up with Richard. Veronica and I have been married 50 years and going strong. We don't do Valentine's Day as such, but we try to maintain a sense of humour all year long.
Laughing is, honestly, isn't laughing the thing. If you've got a partner you can laugh with, it's a wonderful thing.
Yeah, Jackie's didn't laugh so much. My late husband once cooked a meal for Valentine's. It was anything but romantic because the table was in the kitchen and it was full of mucky pots and pans. He grumbled because I wasn't impressed.
Oh, yeah, you should have been a bit impressed, Jackie, a little bit.
Tried.
Mike, I love all this. I'll be spending Valentine's Day child-minding the 2 little granddaughters. Nothing could be better.
I'll bet. Nothing. Absolutely.
Have you got your granddaughters' little Valentine's cards? I wonder. Did you ever do that with the boys? Because I always used, when I was little, I always got a Valentine's card. Me and my brother always got a Valentine's card. And I remember thinking, it looks suspiciously like my mother's handwriting.
Yes, yeah. No, but when your kids go to school, their teachers usually get them to make Valentine's cards for you. I've kept those.
Have you?
Yeah, I've still got those. I embarrass them every so often by getting them out. But no, they're lovely to have. Why not?
In terms of, I know we're waffling on a bit this morning, but in terms of weddings and wedding costs, Jane and Alan, or Jane's emailed in, my husband and I have been married for nearly 49 years.
Oh, well done.
We got married at the registry office in Sheffield, May 26, 1973. We had a drink in the Dove and Rainbow pub, got the bus home, no fuss. But we haven't got any photos, which I'm sad about.
Oh, you really do have to take photos at a wedding, even if you think it's a bit of a fuss. I think you should, don't you?
Yeah, but, married for 49 years, it's amazing.
Yeah. Lovely. Look, we want to hear your wedding stories because we've been talking about whether expensive weddings make for short marriages. Yes, that's what they say. Although you can have a big wedding with lots of friends and family because that means the commitment is made in front of the people who love you. And the commitment's important, but you don't have to spend money doing it, really.
This is true. This is true, yes. Send your thoughts through gbviews@gbnews.uk or tweet us at GBNews.
Now, with hospital waiting times hitting a record high this week, 6.1 million waiting for treatment, no wonder the NHS is looking at all options to help clear the backlog. And the answer might be robotic doctors.
Yeah, it sounds a bit scary, doesn't it? The Griffin Institute at Northwick Park, one of the UK's largest robotics medical centres, is currently testing robots to see if they can take over some routine surgeries.
So let's speak directly to the Director of Training at the Griffin Institute, Surgeon Nada Francis. Hello there. A very good morning.
Good morning.
Now, when we talk about robotic doctors, what do we really mean? It's not a sort of robot doing the job instead of you, is it?
Not at all, no. It is still activated and worked by human being. It is at what we call it master-slave. So a doctor sits in a console. The robotic arms are on the patient. Whatever the surgeon will perform is ultimately happening on the patients. But the robots tend to enhance the surgical skills.
I was going to say, what is if you've still got one surgeon doing one operation, what is the benefit?
So first, our training center, it is to support learning and support training and make sure that doctors are fully qualified, fully trained to help with the backlog. And as you know, you train them more, you will improve the efficiency of the service. In terms of the technique itself, the robotic, it is very similar to keyhole surgery, but it's using the robots. And we know that keyhole surgery and minimally invasive surgery have patients' benefits. So the whole idea, it is to help and support this backlog to have their surgery up to the highest standard and through the most advanced technology for their benefits.
How many surgeons are you training?
We have been open throughout the pandemic, so we restructured our program. We complied with the safety measures during the pandemic, and we managed to train up to 500 surgeons just during the pandemic. Remember, these are surgeons used to travel to Europe to seek learning, and I'd like to thank John Griffin for supporting our institution, sustaining it, and we are in a position now to offer this advanced training here in the UK to the British surgeons.
Yeah, I mean, it's great news for the UK. Just a final thought, if you would, are we looking at a situation here where the surgeons are performing the operations remotely? Is that something we could move towards?
That was the whole idea of robotic surgery. It hasn't materialized yet, although there are some experimental, but I'm almost certain it will happen in time. But at the moment, the console, it is in the same room as the operating room. With the patient, but I think in time to come, that is meant to be especially in army and military areas where surgeons cannot be there, they can perform the operation safely. So I'm sure with advanced technology that one day will happen.
Oh, well, it's fascinating stuff. Nadia, Francis, really good to talk to you this morning.
Yes, thank you very much. I've witnessed one of those operations.
Oh, have you?
Yeah, where the surgeon, as we saw in the picture there, is at the console at one corner of the operating theatre. And the robot, he's like he's got long hands. The hands go in and perform the surgery. Absolutely astonishing. But he's actually controlling the hands from that console, which means it can be done far less invasively. No, you don't have to slice anyone open to get something out. It can be removed through a tube, absolutely astonishing, and it makes it very fast. And of course, recovery is much, much quicker as well.
That's the thing.
Yeah, and the whole operation is much, much quicker. So maybe that's what will help clear a backlog of operations that are vitally needed by some people at the moment.
It's fascinating. It's a little bit scary to see. I think they should be unconscious for it, hopefully.
Oh, and one of the things they do first is they put a camera in where they're going to operate, and when the surgeon is sitting at the console, it's like he's inside the stomach of the person. He can actually see it all. Absolutely astonishing, brilliant.
I don't think I will be having that big.
It's nice to know we've got a. It's nice to know we've got a centre of excellence, though, teaching people.
It is. Yeah. It is. It's very good for the UK. That's all good for the UK economy and everything else.
Absolutely.
Stay with us. We've got lots more still to come, including a decent look at the papers for you.
GB News is the UK's home of discussion and debate
from all perspectives.
To stay up to date on the latest stories,
make sure that you subscribe to the GB News channel
right here on YouTube.
You can watch us live 24/7 across the whole world.
You can also check out exclusive content and catch up on previous episodes of your favourite shows.
Every day, we ask the questions
that you'd ask, so why not add your voice to the conversation in the comments section?
Don't forget to subscribe. We are GB News, Britain's news channel.
Every night at 11 on GB News, we bring you the next day's stories the day before.
It's basically like time travel.
If it's a big story, we'll cover it, guaranteed. But we'll also have some fun along the way.
Big opinions, big laughs. Sometimes big hair.
This is
Headliners, the paper review show that won't send you to sleep like the others will.
11 p.m, 7 nights a week. Join us.
Hello there, I'm Eamon Holmes.
And I'm Isabel Webster.
And we hope you can join us for
Breakfast with Eamon
and Isabel.
You make me laugh out loud, belly laugh.
Is that important first thing in the morning?
Yeah, absolutely.
And there's me trying to be deadly serious. News is a serious business.
Yeah, I have to rein you in sometimes.
Well, it doesn't stop us laughing at it. It doesn't stop us having an opinion on what's going on.
Yeah.
And it certainly will not stop us reflecting what you think.
Weekdays from 6 to 9:30 on GB News.
I'm Dan Wootton. Join me Monday to Thursday from 9 to 11 for the feistiest and most fun news debate on TV, where free speech reigns. I'll bring you a sharp take on the day's biggest stories, bombshell newsmaker interviews, and A-list guests. And I guarantee you, no spin, no bias, no censorship, and no reason to go to bed. That's Dan Wootton tonight, Monday to Thursdays from 9 on GB News.
.37, you're watching and listening to Breakfast with Stephen and Anne on your TV, on your radio, on your Tinternet, on your phone, everywhere.
Everywhere, you can't get away from us. But let's go through the newspapers right now. Claire Muldoon is with us, Pete Price. I've found some more stories that we should know about. Pete, first of all, I'm so cold in the studio, and that's what your first story is about, the cost of living crisis and whether people can afford to heat their homes.
Yeah, and it's everywhere, but I saw this one in the Express. The campaign warns the cost of living in the crisis. And I love the photograph that they've used. The Lord Mayor from 2019, Anna Rotherham, is marching, which I think is great. I'm thrilled about that. The point they're making is that tens of thousands of older people die from cold, and also the contributing factors from the cold. It is frightening what's happening. It isn't just about young people and single mums and single dads and people who are struggling on the breadline. It is the older people as well, who have paid so much into society to give everybody what they've got today. And we must not, and that's an old cliche that people used to use, but it's a fact.
Oh, it's
They've
true.
put an awful lot into this country to give so much, and we must give something back to
And
them.
of course there is that. I mean, it is sort of a medical fact, isn't it, that older people do need to be kept a bit warmer. You just do as you get older. And with the price of things at the moment, I mean, no wonder they're really struggling.
Stephen, I've got a few bob. I've got a nice home, but I switch every light off when I go into a room. I don't have lights on all the time. I have heating off in rooms I don't use. I do it because that's the way I was brought up. My mum brought me up like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
It seems wrong and extravagant to heat the whole house when you're not in it. Yeah. So I've turned my heating right off.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Which means it'll be a cold house to go back to this afternoon.
Yeah, well, I did that when I came down to London. So I'm sorry, that's the way I'm brought up.
Yeah.
That's why I've got a few bob.
Yeah. But isn't it a matter of shame, or is it? I don't know. To be a country in the a very civilised Western country in the 21st century, and we're letting our old people go cold in the winter.
A developed country, no less. We're not even an underdeveloped country, and yet, as a society, we can't take care of those in need. It's so wrong. So wrong.
Yeah, we're the sixth biggest economy in the world.
I love it when you get advice from people saying, wear more jumpers, put a blanket on.
Edwina Currie was famous for that. She said to all the elderly people when she was a minister, put a jumper on.
But elderly people know that already.
Exactly.
They're the very generation that know that.
They absolutely know it.
No
exactly.
Need, absolutely no need to.
Well, I don't know about you, but I'm just so pleased that the throws are very much in vogue on a sofa, because every single one of my children, when they come back home, they get a cover.
Absolutely.
They get a cover.
And you can
and
get
a hot water bottle.
Hot water bottles are always the best invention.
Yeah.
But you can get heated throws now, which use very, very little electricity. Yeah, and you can sit because we've had emails from people who are watching us now with their heated throws over their knees, and apparently they're brilliant.
Well, that's great.
And there's very
one
cheap,
in the studio.
I'm thrilled that you're wearing so well. I don't even remember Edwina Currie.
How could you forget?
Sunday People, Claire.
Yeah.
Cop-outs and robbers,
yeah,
as they put it.
Cressida Dick's resignation from the Met is in all of the papers today, understandably. And there's a few stories going on. I mean, what's her line of succession? Who will become the new Met police officer? And why she went out. And, of course, we've got the Mayor of London. I don't want this to be London-centric, but we are dealing with the Metropolitan Police and we are dealing with the Mayor of London. So apologies to the rest of the UK. Under Khan, I'm sorry, but knife crime has gone through the roof. Serious crime's gone through the roof in London. He shouldn't be, jumping on the bandwagon of Cressida Dick leaving. We've now got Partygate and the question arising, should the Metropolitan Police advise the country on the reasons why Boris Johnson has to go, or indeed should they be saying, well, he has to go because he's broken the law in X, Y and Z?
Well, they won't say that, will they? It won't.
This is the question. Is it up to the Metropolitan Police? Because you know the way reports are swung. You know the narrative that's used, and you know the way that mainstream media jumps on stories, latches onto them and runs with them. However, in 1999, the Macpherson report came out, which on the wake of Stephen Lawrence's tragic murder, and that was shown that the Metropolitan Police was institutionally racist. Everyone agreed on that. Only last year, there was another report. Nothing much has changed. Now, fast forward to Sarah Everard's shameful, horrible, horrendous murder last year by a member of the Metropolitan Police. And the 1970s backroom, what's it called? Banter between women police officers in the whole of the country. Oh, it's boys. It's boys will be boys. Well, I'm sorry, it's developed into something much, much, much more sinister, much, much more misogynistic now. And I think, as well as being institutionally racist, the Met has got severe blood on their hands.
Do you think that's Cressida Dick's fault?
She is at the top of the tree. Now, you have to look at the buck does stop with her. But Alistair Stewart's son used to be a police officer, and he wrote an amazing article in The Guardian 10 years ago. He was top dog at Hendon, and when he moved into Camden and Hackney, he said that he just couldn't do his job because there was too many reports. And
go on, Pete.
No, I was just going to say that every word you say I agree with. The problem is with institutional racism, how can you get rid of it anywhere? Because it's out there. I promise you, it is out there. And if somebody doesn't like somebody because of the colour of the skin, they will not change. You won't change them. That's the problem.
You can come down hard on them, though.
You can come down hard on them, but you can't get to it. You can't find out if it's fact.
No.
You can hear the odd line.
It's going to be a generational change.
Yeah.
Which is a problem.
Precisely.
But it's not just racism that's out there. It's homophobia. It's sexism.
Tell me about it.
If people don't like someone, we're all allowed not to like people. But it's the labelling of that dislike that's the issue.
Well, it's the way you express your dislike, isn't it?
Exactly.
You throw bottles at people or make monkey calls at football matches or something. We've got to clamp down on it somehow, and I don't think we're tough enough.
No, I think it's a fair point. I hate to say it, you two.
I've got 9 stories here. Don't shut me down.
We're out of time.
I want to talk about the cat. I want to talk about Tinder. I've got everything to talk about.
We'll have to do a special online show at 10 o'clock.
It's not right. It's not right.
It's all right. You still get the same...
We've cancelled him.
Still get the same fee.
You'll be all right.
You add into
Or 8. Now, you persuaded my producer. If you want to talk about one more thing, you can. So let's talk about Kurt Zouma.
Yes.
Right. Well, I was totally and utterly against this footballer, and I think it's dreadful what he did, doing that to a cat, and I think he should be prosecuted. But Bradley,
Karen
Brady has said she's not sacking him. I don't think he should be sacked.
No,
I think enough's enough, because he's going to live with that the rest of his life.
But they shouldn't have put him out on the pitch.
No, of course he shouldn't. Of course he shouldn't.
That was David Moyes' call, though.
Of course he shouldn't. And they'll boo him every single time he plays. But he's been punished. It was dreadful what he did, and he needs help. He needs counselling. But he shouldn't be sacked.
Dead right. He needs help.
Yeah. Well, look.
Thank you for that. Let me do that story. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, you're not getting any extra cash for it, Pete.
All right, then. Well, as long as I can get a taxi back to my hotel so I can get my head down.
You can bob off, as we say up north.
Yes. Thank you very much.
Both
of you, thank you very much.
I would say it's been a joy, but,
Yeah, it's definitely been a joy of sorts. Now, the shortage of HGV drivers in Britain has been causing chaos in the country.
Yeah, new figures from Logistics UK show the pressure, though, may be easing slightly. Figures from the trade body show the shortage is about 85,000 now. That's down from 100,000 in October.
New rules implemented in November mean that drivers can take... Bye!
Where are you wandering off to?
Mean that drivers can take their test in an articulated lorry without having to first pass the test in a rigid lorry.
You just can't get the guess these days. Our Yorkshire reporter Anna Riley spoke to a driver who's recently passed the new test.
Queues at the petrol pumps, food shortages and the rising cost of goods all put the shortage of HGV drivers in the national spotlight last year. The lack of drivers has been blamed on many things, including Brexit, the pandemic and pay and conditions in the industry. But according to the Road Haulage Association, the biggest reason for the shortfall is retirement. In a bid to get new drivers on the road, the government changed the rules last November to allow car drivers to take their test in an articulated lorry without first having to pass in a rigid lorry. This driver in Dewsbury is among the first to have passed his HGV test straight from a car licence at the Fleetmaster Training Centre.
Felt extremely different to driving a car. This vehicle's about 15 metres long, it's 44 tonnes in weight, and it's 13'7" high. I had to consider things like lampposts, trees, bridges that we couldn't go under, the length of it, keep my eye in the mirrors to check that I wasn't going to hit anything, pedestrians. It was nothing like driving a car. However, it's automatic, technically it's not difficult to drive, it's just the understanding. And these people were great, they taught me. I listened to what they said and I found I could do it. And after a few hours, it wasn't straight away, after a few hours, it was possible. I've really, really enjoyed it.
Typically, it takes around 12 weeks of theory and practical training to test completion and costs between £2,500 and £3,000 here at Fleetmaster. And the company have seen a real interest in the new scheme.
We are getting numerous more women getting involved. We're getting people from all sorts of different backgrounds, all sorts of different ages, different experiences, whether it be a completely new car driver to somebody in the late 50s, 60s that have always fancied doing it, and now they just thought, now's the time to be getting on with it.
As well as this scheme, the government announced it would train up to 4,000 people as new HGV drivers, increase testing capacity, and encourage retired drivers back to the industry. Salaries have also increased to around £30,000 for the job, but there's also been pushback on the industry to improve working conditions.
We do need to attract more women, more younger drivers. The way that we do that is for the industry to promote itself better, to say that, to become an HGV driver, it's not a dirty job, it's a very, very well paid and highly skilled job. And that message needs to come from the industry.
And I even had a go at reversing one of these lorries and just about managed to stay within the cones.
Forwards is a lot easier than backwards. I've got a car licence myself and I can say it's a lot harder than it looks. So credit to anyone that's passed their test straight from a car driving licence to being in this 44-tonne truck Arctic. Anna Riley for GB News in Dewsbury.
Love it.
Bless. That can't be easy driving a lorry that big.
No, 44
especially an articulated one. Because they do weird things, articulated lorries, don't they?
It's the reversing, which is, I don't know how on earth you work that out. I don't know. There you go.
Well, that's the difficult thing when it's articulated.
Yeah.
Because you have to go opposite to what you think.
Yeah. I don't know, it sounds like you've got a pretty good idea, to be honest.
I don't know why I know that. Why do I know that? I don't
know.
That's weird.
Anyway, let's get up to date with all the very latest showbiz gossip. Stephanie Tetchy is here. Good morning.
Hello.
Stephen and Anne.
Gosh, you look gorgeous again. That dress is
I'm in the Valentine's Day spirit.
Of course, yes.
Thought I'd wear the pink, bring all the love energy.
Just in case you're watching and you're panicking now, it's Valentine's Day tomorrow. You've still got time.
Yes, you do.
Just. The Duchess of Cambridge.
Oh, my gosh. I'm 35 years old, but I'm actually really excited that the Duchess of Cambridge tonight will be the first royal family member to do a CBeebies bedtime story. This week it's been Children's Mental Health Week, and she, of course, is a royal patron for the place to be. So tonight she will be reading to children The Owl Who Was Afraid of the Dark, and it's by Jill Tomlinson. So it's really a good cause that the Duchess is going to be doing this. And, earlier this week, there was images that came out of her doing it, and the jumper she was wearing, it sold out within hours.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she was wearing a jumper by Holland Cooper, and it all sold out. So that's going to be tonight on CBeebies at 6:30.
She's really quite remarkable at the moment, isn't she?
She's doing so well.
She's doing this. I mean, when she played the piano for whatever it was, at that concert, I know it was a pre-recorded thing, but I mean, even that, she looks so graceful.
She's really coming into her own, I think, over the last 2 years, she's obviously had to step up. There's been a gap in the family since Harry and Meghan's gone. You know, I know Charles and Camilla will be next, but after that, it will be William and Kate. And I feel like they've done a really good job of connecting with a new generation who necessarily wasn't interested in the royal family. And, you know, to be doing something like this is way out of the royal family's comfort zone. So it's the right way and the right thing to do.
What's she reading?
She's reading The Owl Who Was Afraid of the Dark by Jill Tomlinson. And so it fits with the theme.
The story of Plop, a baby barn owl, aligns with this year's theme of growing together. I don't know the book, but it sounds
Neither
nice.
do I.
No, must be
You
good.
will do after.
Well, I'm going to be watching and then I'm going to head to bed after.
What time's it on?
6:30, 6:50 actually
6:50.
on CBeebies.
That's late, isn't it?
Yeah.
CBeebies? But it's the bedtime story.
Yeah, bedtime story. So the kids should be in bed by 7, hopefully.
Yeah, so you'll be fast asleep by 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
Now, Natalie Imbruglia, I love Tall.
Oh,
That great tune from like 20-odd years ago. I love it.
What a classic. And she is awesome. And last night, if any of the viewers watched, she was unmasked as Panda on The Masked Singer. So if anyone doesn't watch it, it's a show where they get celebrities to wear all these fantastic outfits and you don't know who is singing. So she won yesterday. She was up against Charlotte Church, who was dressed as a mushroom, and Mark Feely from Westlife, who was the Robo Bunny. So yesterday it got the most ratings for a Saturday night show, and ITV
really?
bosses have also confirmed that they'll be back for another series next year. The judges were quite shocked, and Natalie's quite good friends with Davina McCall and Rita Ora. She was like, I thought they would have guessed, but they didn't. And because she had an American accent the whole time.
Oh,
So they sing in a costume?
Yeah.
So you can't tell who it is?
No, and they give you all the clues throughout the whole series on who it could be, and then the judges have to guess who it is.
It can't be easy singing in a costume like a panda.
And do you know what? I was thinking you would do good on that show, actually.
Well, I don't know that.
Think you'd be great.
Got the voice of an angel.
Oh, yeah, like that. Sort of not.
I love it though. I bet it's fun to do.
Yeah, definitely so.
I'm a big Spider-Man fan.
I know you
and of course,
are.
And it's all about, and of course, it's all about the gossip and the relationship between Tom Holland and Zendaya now, isn't it?
Well, surprisingly, last week, I didn't think she was the right choice for this, but she's the latest waxwork to go into Madame Tussauds, and it was unveiled on Friday, much to critical acclaim, because a lot of fans are saying that does not look like Zendaya. So here she is in the pink suit. The artist drew her in 2015, but a lot of fans have gone online and said, you guys need to redo a job because she's looking like Kylie Jenner, a cross between Kylie Jenner and Nicki Minaj.
She does look like Zendaya.
Yeah, I don't know what fans
pretty
I think it
good.
looks like her. So Madame Tussauds have come out and said, we're sorry, we're not going to be redoing this waxwork again. Our artist got it right from a sitting with her in
They always get
2015.
complaints. People say it doesn't look like.
You're never going to get it 100%.
Well,
right.
I think that looks really good.
I do as well. I think it's a good... So Madame Tussauds said, hold your horses, come see it close up, and then let us know what you think. But you know how fans are. They want it exactly how she is, but you're never going to achieve that, are you?
Well, I mean, no, not if she's, lost a pound in the last week or something and it makes a difference.
I think they've got the expression on the face rather well.
really
I'm
good.
sure if she wasn't happy about it, she would have said something before it went on display. She must have given her blessing for it to go.
Yeah, because she would have posed for it.
I think when you see these, if you ever go to like waxwork museums that aren't Madame Tussauds and things,
yes, they're not so good.
Sometimes they're a bit grim. So I think that's really good. I like the pink power suit.
I know.
Oh, I know, it's beautiful.
Wink.
I could see it in that.
I'm more interested in where the trouser suit comes from. It looks
I know.
fab, doesn't it?
It's probably like Chanel or something.
Oh,
Something
probably is. Can we talk Dosh?
Yeah, we can. So we know celebrities, they've got unlimited money coming their way when they're in movies, dramas, all that. But China's cracking down on celebrity culture. This week they announced their national television and radio production company said that actors will only be paid 40% wages of a production company. Production fees.
Right.
So this comes after an actress called Zhang Shang. She was paid £15 million to star in a drama. And the whole country's been up in arms about saying it's too much. So China said now they're going to crack down and actors can only get 40%
They're
wages.
capping their wages?
Yeah, they
How
are.
interesting.
And even a lead actor can only get 70% of a production, and that's it. So,
Well, yeah, but if 70% of the cost is going on paying your main star, it's a lot of money.
It makes me think if it's something that can trickle down to over here, or maybe Hollywood, but I think definitely...
We shall see. Stephanie, good to see you. We'll catch up with you later on.
See you soon.
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, the pink trouser suit was Alexander McQueen, I've been told.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, Cambridge's favourite.
Oh, is it? Got plenty more still to come for you this morning, including what supermarket dinners you can buy for Valentine's Day.
At 10, Michael Portillo joins the political correction. From 12 till 6, it's Alistair, Darren and Nana. At 7, join Free Speech Nation for a laugh that won't be cancelled. At 9, it's Mark Dolan Tonight, followed by Headliners. That's Sunday on GB News.
Well, the UK is looking very unsettled as heavy, persistent rain and strong winds spread across the country. And these are the details for you. In the southwest, a very wet morning and the rain will continue through to lunchtime. Drier weather waiting out in the west will arrive later on in the day. For London and the southeast, cloudy as we head towards midday, but it should be mostly dry before turning unsettled this afternoon. Across Wales, a very wet and windy picture of heavy rain, heaviest over the hills and mountains and gales and exposed areas. The rain will break up through the afternoon. In the Midlands, about lunchtime, the rain turns heaviest and most persistent. The winds will strengthen too, making conditions difficult if you're heading out on the road. After a very wet and windy morning, northeastern England should become drier. Some breaks about midday, though there'll still be plenty of rain around and the wind staying strong for a while. Heavy rain pushing across the southern half of Scotland as we head towards lunchtime. Further north, it's going to be drier, sunnier and calmer, albeit with a few showers. Now, after a very wet start in Northern Ireland, the rain will be starting to ease by the afternoon. It's going to take a while to clear completely, and some rain will linger. So the worst of the unsettled weather will clear away by tonight, with clearer skies in the west.
GB News is the UK's home of discussion and debate.
From all perspectives.
To stay up to date on the latest stories,
make sure that you subscribe to the GB News channel
right here on YouTube.
You can watch us live 24/7 across the whole world.
You can also check out exclusive content and catch up on previous episodes of your favourite shows.
Every day, we ask the questions
that you'd ask, so why not add your voice to the conversation in the comments section?
Don't forget to subscribe. We are GB News, Britain's news channel.
Every night at 11 on GB News, we bring you the next day's stories the day before.
It's basically like time travel.
If it's a big story, we'll cover it, guaranteed. But we'll also have some fun along the way.
Big opinions, big laughs. Sometimes big hair.
This is
Headliners, the paper review show that won't send you to sleep like the others will.
11 p.m, 7 nights a week. Join us.
Hello there, I'm Eamon Holmes.
And I'm Isabel Webster.
And we hope you can join us for
Breakfast with Eamon
and Isabel.
You make me laugh out loud, belly laugh.
Is that important first thing in the morning?
Yeah, absolutely.
And there's me trying to be deadly serious. News is a serious business.
Yeah, I have to rein you in sometimes.
Well, it doesn't stop us laughing at it. It doesn't stop us having an opinion on what's going on.
Yeah.
And it certainly will not stop us reflecting what you think.
Weekdays from 6 to 9:30 on GB News.
I'm Dan Wootton. Join me Monday to Thursday from 9 to 11 for the feistiest and most fun news debate on TV, where free speech reigns. I'll bring you a sharp take on the day's biggest stories, bombshell newsmaker interviews, and A-list guests. And I guarantee you, no spin, no bias, no censorship, and no reason to go to bed. That's Dan Wootton Tonight, Monday to Thursdays from 9 on GB News.
Good morning, it's 9 o'clock on Sunday, the 13th of February. This is Breakfast on GB News with Stephen and Anne. And we're live across the whole of the UK on both your TV and your radio. So wherever you are, let us know, and Stephen will check on his phone to see if you've got in touch.
Yeah, well, I'm just seeing where people have been messaging in from, because there's people from all over the world. Just a lovely picture in from Spain. We're on a massive telly in Spain. So we want to know exactly where you are, what you're doing, what you're up to, and what you're planning for Valentine's Day.
And take a picture of it and send it to us, because we want to know what you're doing, as well as you being able to switch us on and see what we're doing.
Yeah, anyway, it's so exciting to see what everyone's doing. I keep forgetting to present the news.
Exactly, it's a problem. But but it's great because you switch the telly on and we're there. We can't switch the telly on and see you, but you're actually almost doing that for us. It's a two-way street, which is great.
Really nice.
Anyway, as you say, you can watch us in all sorts of ways. Don't forget, you can also watch via the GB News app. So here's what's on the menu for the next hour.
Joe Biden has warned Vladimir Putin that the US would impose swift and severe costs on Russia if it invaded Ukraine.
Meanwhile, Defence Secretary Ben Wallace has likened the attitude of some Western nations to appeasement. We'll speak to Tory MP and former United Nations commander in Bosnia, Bob Stewart, in just a moment.
Also coming up in the programme, they say the way to a person's heart is through their stomach. So we'll be deciding on the best Valentine's meal you can get for 20 quid or less, and asking a celebrity chef about his favourite relationship recipes.
And you can join in any of our discussions by emailing gbviews@gbnews.uk. Don't forget to send a picture as well if you can, or tweet @GBNews.
So those photos are coming in thick and fast, which I absolutely love. So let's kick straight off with Jenny, who says, loving the show, watching in Rye with Jack Russell puppies, George and Trevor. Oh, look at those. Paul McCartney lives about 2 miles behind our house, so we're actually sort of neighbours, and met him when he had to reverse his car on a narrow country lane to let us by.
Oh, well, if you bump into him, tell him Janice wants a phone call. Janice is the lovely lady we were talking to earlier, who at 16 came all the way from America to Britain to try and see the Beatles. And ended up getting herself into real trouble. Another viewer, James, says, good morning, Stephen and Anne. Absolutely loving the show. Watching in sunny Poland.
Very nice. Oh, look at those Valentine's balloons out there
yes.
as well.
Well
Sarah
done.
says, me, Shane and Izzy the dog from, Auchterarder in Scotland.
Auchterarder.
Auchterarder,
I think.
Yeah, you're going to have to let us know if
But I
you get that
love
one
your
right.
room. How moody and gorgeous is that? Is that the table set for tonight sort of thing, I wonder?
Maybe.
Emma says, I'm watching from Fairy Mountain in Italy. We're
that
south of
sounds
Rome.
exotic.
You'd love the wildlife here on the mountain, Stephen.
Oh, lovely.
We're going all over the world here. Yeah. That's amazing. Thank you so much for getting in touch.
Yeah, loads of other stuff we're talking about. And it's on a serious issue, fracking. We were talking about fracking earlier on. There's been a lot of calls for the government to look at fracking. Again, it's on a moratorium at the moment. There are concerns about seismic activity, earthquakes and things, and a lot of the key quadrilla site is near Blackpool. Simon's been in touch. Morning, Simon. I live in Blackpool, and like most of my family and friends, we're in favour of fracking and the economic benefits it can bring to the area, not just lower energy bills. That's an interesting point, and of course, Blackpool really does need some investment at the moment, so it would make a big difference.
So you're pro-fracking, that's interesting. We've been talking a lot, of course, about love and romance and relationships and weddings, because it's Valentine's Day tomorrow. You still have time to plan, if you didn't even realise it was Valentine's. Very important to some, anyway. Rabin says, comparing myself to the awesome married couple you were talking about earlier, I'm just a rookie, past 9 years. My protocol, he says, is happy wife, happy life.
Yes.
Today is my wife's birthday, and she's working very hard caring for the vulnerable and elderly senior citizens in a care home. I salute her.
There's some very touching messages we've had. Jean, morning Jean.
Morning Jean.
She says, I have a note from my husband on which he wrote, I loved you. He framed it for a Valentine's gift a few years ago. He passed away in 2016, so it's a precious memory. It is the little love tokens that mean the most.
Yes.
Quite right.
You don't have to spend too much money to express your love, do you?
No.
And as we said, we're going to be talking about, you can get these amazing Valentine's meal deals from most of the major supermarkets at the moment. I was talking yesterday about how I haven't been in a supermarket for 2 years. Actually, I went yesterday and I went and bought a couple of these amazing Valentine's meal deals, and they're really good, and we'll be talking you through them, and you can see what you get for your money, but no more than 20 quid for quite a lot, actually.
Yeah.
A lot of food and booze.
Good amount of food. You won't go hungry. That's the main thing. Now, let's... actually, just to remind you of the email address, gbviews@gbnews.uk. Keep those thoughts, those pictures, whether it's the serious stuff like fracking or romantic stuff on Valentine's Day, whatever you want to talk about, we would love to hear from you this morning.
The Defence Secretary, Ben Wallace, has told The Times the chance of Russia invading Ukraine is highly likely, likening last-minute Western diplomatic efforts to appeasement, stating there was a whiff of Munich in the air. And last night, in an hour-long phone call with the Russian leader, US President Joe Biden warned an attack would cause widespread human suffering.
Well, let's talk to Bob Stewart, Conservative MP for Beckenham, and of course, we all know you as Colonel Bob from your work and the amazing work you did sort of back in the 80s and 90s, Bob. With your military hat on, how do you view the situation?
I view it that the Russians are in a position to invade Ukraine. They put their troops around Ukraine, ready to go. They will have designed the plan of how they would do it, or several plans, options, if you like. But the decision to invade has not been made, obviously, and that decision to invade will be decided by Mr. Putin when he thinks it will be to his advantage to do so, if he thinks that. That's my view.
And the Defence Secretary, Ben Wallace, has said that that what we're doing at the moment is almost amounting to appeasement, and that he says it is highly likely there will be an invasion soon. Do you agree with him?
Well, I don't know. To be honest, I just don't know that. He may do, but I don't.
All the experts go ahead.
His reference to appeasement is implying that some nations in Europe, particularly, and he's probably thinking of Germany, because the Russians have got a stranglehold on German energy, that the Germans aren't being as vociferous or as pointed in their disagreement with what the Russians are doing as others.
Is there concern, but when you look at this from both a military perspective and a political perspective, does it concern you that the West, and the UK included in that, seems to be upping the ante against President Putin? There are arguments to be made that perhaps they're making conflict more likely.
There's a little bit of truth in that, insofar as the West, i.e. NATO, has reinforced parts of its area being the countries that are members of NATO, but it's a reaction. NATO is a defensive alliance. There's no doubt. It's been stated quite clearly that by our ministers, our defence ministers, that we will not be sending troops into Ukraine to defend Ukraine. Ukraine is not part of NATO. It wants to be, and that's half the problem. It wants to be a part of NATO, and the Russians don't want it to be. But there is no doubt that NATO has put more troops on the borders, on its borders, in response to the aggression, not just in the Donbass, which is eastern Ukraine, by Russian-infiltrated troops, but also with the fact that in 2014, the Russians took over in the Crimea, and they've stayed there. I can understand why they're there, because of the Black Sea Fleet being positioned there, but the response of NATO nations is because Russia has vastly vamped up the troops surrounding Ukraine.
If Russia did invade, Even though, as you said, Ukraine isn't part of NATO, would we just stand back and watch?
No, I don't think we would. What we would do is, obviously, there'll be huge diplomatic pressure on the Russians because that's way out. The economic consequences of invading Ukraine might be enormous for Russia because something like 47% of the Russian economy is dependent on the selling of energy, and particularly gas. And if that was to be stopped, and we could stop it, we could find alternative means in Western Europe, it might bankrupt Russia. There's other thoughts too. The fact of the matter is that the Ukrainians are very, very close to Russians, and the Russian people won't take kindly to the fact that Russian troops are killing fellow Slavs. And then, of course, Mr. Putin will have to weigh up that if the West doesn't like what the Russians have done in Ukraine, they could actually support sort of counter movements, and by that I mean sort of resistance in Ukraine. So Mr. Putin hasn't got it all his own way. He'll have to weigh these factors up. And these are the sort of factors which he will be considering before he makes a decision to invade or doesn't. If I was him, I wouldn't invade, but I'm not Russian. I wouldn't invade because actually, in the end, he'll lose. In the end, he will lose because eventually the people will do and accept what they want.
What do you make of the comments by the Shadow Foreign Secretary, David Lammy, who's talked about the Foreign Office needing to step up its game in terms of getting people out of Ukraine and to improve on what happened in Afghanistan? I mean, is that even a fair comparison? I mean, they seem two very different situations.
I think it's a bit unfair, actually. It's a bit point scoring. I mean, asking the Foreign Office to step up its game, well, 48 hours ago, the Foreign Office said, please get out of Ukraine if you can, to British citizens. I mean, if the Russians were to invade, are we going to be sending airplanes into Ukraine, which could be construed as part of the war? The answer is no. I don't think it's fair to link it to Afghanistan. I was very disturbed by the end game in Afghanistan, obviously, as everyone was. But it was almost inevitable once the Americans had decided to go.
Do you think we could have avoided getting to this point if things had been handled differently?
Who knows? I mean, the truth of the matter is that Mr. Putin does not want Ukraine to go into the Western sphere of influence. And by that in particular, he doesn't want Ukraine to join NATO. Ukraine does want to join NATO. NATO, for its part, actually says any country that wishes to join this free defensive alliance, we will consider. So NATO's unlikely to give up that stance, and Mr. Putin is unlikely to give up his view that actually Ukraine should not join NATO. To be honest, it's a bit of a Mexican standoff at the moment, but I hope very much that diplomacy will prevail in the end. And my view, my little view, is that I hope very much this can be de-escalated. I hope Mr. Putin calculates, because I've outlined what I think he should be thinking as factors, calculates very carefully the gains and losses he might make if he were to invade Ukraine. He is really gambling if he goes into Ukraine. And it's not just our military power, which we probably we won't use to defend Ukrainian soil, but it's far bigger than that. Warfare has really changed in the last 50 years. Warfare involves all aspects of society. And if the Russian people actually really suffer because Mr. Putin miscalculates and puts Russian troops into Ukraine, actually he may well rue that day. And Mr. Putin's one big thing is to remain in power.
Look, Ben Wallace, the Defence Secretary, is obviously a solid figure with a lot of background when it comes to warfare. You know, he understands what's on the line here. But how problematic is it for Number 10 when every time the Prime Minister goes everywhere, he's dogged by questions about Partygate? I mean, is that proving to be a hindrance, do you think?
Well, that will be inevitable in the current climate. You know, the press and people like yourself, forgive me, keep going on and on about it. But actually, in the diplomatic world, I don't think it really matters. What really matters is actually the United Kingdom's standing up and saying what it does. And what it's saying is, Mr. Putin, don't invade Ukraine. In the end, you will be the loser.
Yes, I mean, we're part of NATO, so to a certain extent, what Britain does has to be within that or under that umbrella. But is there anything more that we in Britain could do to try and de-escalate the situation?
I think, to be honest, Anne, we're doing as much as we can. We've got a superb ambassador in Kiev, and she is playing it well. I think actually the Foreign Office are doing pretty well too. We've withdrawn the soldiers we had training Ukrainian forces in country. That's happening either today or it's happened. We're doing that because actually we've announced publicly we will not be fighting on Ukrainian soil. But my goodness, it's quite right that we actually take precautionary measures and perhaps reinforce on the boundaries of NATO with our troops. I very much hope that this whole episode will be de-escalated, because the prospect of having war in Ukraine between the Russians and the Ukrainians, and my goodness, be fully aware that the Ukrainians are very, very patriotic, and they do not want to actually be overrun by the Russians. And they will fight very hard. I mean, all of them. You've seen pictures of young men and young women actually preparing, if necessary, to fight for their country. Ukraine is a country that's seen a lot of warfare in the past, and I have to say, it will not be a pushover for Mr. Putin's 100,000 plus troops to take over a country as big as that, with the determination that the Ukrainians have to remain free.
OK. Bob Stewart, really good to talk to you this morning.
Excellent. Thank you so much for joining us.
I mean, we've been involved in training Ukrainians for a long time and sending a lot of equipment and things over as well over the years.
But from what Bob was saying, Ukraine is always going to have this nightmare, haven't they? Because it is in the nature of Putin, certainly, and maybe other Russian leaders, to want to make that land grab. They want to take over Ukraine. It's instinctive almost.
Well, because it's not like one of the separate countries that then broke away from the USSR. Ukraine always was part of mainland Russia, wasn't it? So you can sort of see their desire. But is it the argument that they want the land back, or is it the argument that they just don't want to be bordering there with NATO and part of the EU?
And you can see that point of view, can't you?
Yeah.
You can understand what's driving that point of view anyway. Gosh.
This clearly isn't the way to go about any of it. Keep you fully up to date with that as we get more details through, of course, as and when there are any developments. But these are the latest headlines for you. And the Prime Minister will leave London this week, insisting he's getting on with the job while facing questions from police investigating alleged lockdown breaches. Number 10 says he's starting the week in Scotland at a manufacturing site before heading to the northwest of England and an oncology centre.
Lord Frost is among a group of senior Tory MPs and peers urging Boris Johnson to reverse the government's ban on fracking as the UK faces an energy crisis. In a joint letter to the Prime Minister, the former Cabinet Minister and around 29 other Conservatives say it's time to reverse this moratorium.
The Mayor of London has pledged to oppose the appointment of a new Metropolitan Police Chief unless they have a robust plan to deal with the cultural problems at the force. Writing in The Observer today, Sadiq Khan says he's deeply concerned that public trust in the country's biggest force has been shattered by a series of scandals.
And 7 people have been rescued after a mezzanine floor collapsed last night at the Two More Years pub in East London. Ambulance crews treated 13 people and took 4 to hospital, 3 of whom have potentially serious injuries.
Well, do stay with us this morning. We've got lots still to come for you. We've got all the sport, all the showbiz, and Valentine's Day feast, no less.
GB News is the UK's home of discussion and debate.
From all perspectives.
To stay up to date on the latest stories,
make sure that you subscribe to the GB News channel
right here on YouTube.
You can watch us live 24/7 across the whole world.
You can also check out exclusive content and catch up on previous episodes of your favourite shows.
Every day, we ask the questions
that you'd ask, so why not add your voice to the conversation in the comments section?
Don't forget to subscribe. We are GB News, Britain's news channel.
Every night at 11 on GB News, we bring you the next day's stories the day before.
It's basically like time travel.
If it's a big story, we'll cover it, guaranteed. But we'll also have some fun along the way.
Big opinions, big laughs. Sometimes big hair.
This is
Headliners, the paper review show that won't send you to sleep like the others will.
11 p.m, 7 nights a week. Join us.
Hello there, I'm Eamon Holmes.
And I'm Isabel Webster.
And we hope you can join us for
Breakfast with Eamon
and Isabel.
You make me laugh out loud, belly laugh.
Is that important first thing in the morning?
Yeah, absolutely.
And there's me trying to be deadly serious. News is a serious business.
Yeah, I have to rein you in sometimes.
Well, it doesn't stop us laughing at it. It doesn't stop us having an opinion on what's going on.
Yeah.
And it certainly will not stop us reflecting what you think.
Weekdays from 6 to 9:30 on GB News.
I'm Dan Wootton. Join me Monday to Thursday from 9 to 11 for the feistiest and most fun news debate on TV, where free speech reigns. I'll bring you a sharp take on the day's biggest stories, bombshell newsmaker interviews, and A-list guests. And I guarantee you, no spin, no bias, no censorship, and no reason to go to bed. That's Dan Wootton tonight, Monday to Thursdays from 9 on GB News.
hello again. It's 9:23.
It is.
It is. Sorry, is that all right?
Yeah.
You're watching and listening to Breakfast with Stephen and Anne. The reason we're giggling is we never know who's going to talk first.
No, it's like a little gamble, isn't it?
Well, sometimes you can hear the intake of breath. And I think, oh, that's Stephen.
There you go.
But sometimes we get it wrong. Anyway, the point is we're live. We're definitely live. Yeah, across the UK on both your TV and your radio.
Let's turn our attention now, should we, to the world of sport and showbiz. Ada McGee and Stephanie Tetchy are here. Good morning. Good morning.
Very well, actually.
Let's kick off with a bit of showbiz, should we, Stephanie?
Yeah, things are not looking good for Simon Cowell at the moment. Already he's been plagued with a lot of health issues at the moment, but now he's facing some legal troubles. As former contestants on X Factor, which is no longer on TV, they've come out and said they're suing him and the show, his entertainment company Psycho, for not providing adequate care when they were on the show. A lot of contestants have been coming out saying that they felt exploited, they felt like their mental health wasn't looked after. So now Simon and his team are looking into these claims and they feel like we've gone above and beyond when people have been on the show.
How long is it since the show was on?
I think it's been about 2 years now. So these are all former people who've been on it. You've got people like Jedward. Do you remember the two?
Yeah, I remember Jedward.
Yeah. They said that they didn't get a single penny being on that show, and everyone else, all the producers and Simon, have made millions.
But they were on it years ago.
I know.
2007, I reckon.
And also, I don't really agree with that because it's like, after the show, they're now like household names. And they might not be pop stars, but I'm sure they got paid really well. Yeah, they got paid really well for tours and all the rest like
is it
that.
not all in the contract? I mean, I know I've heard from people that the contracts are pretty tight.
Yeah, they are.
But if it's a contract, if you sign it, you sign it.
You sign it. So there's 5 former contestants now who are coming out, and there's people like Cher Lloyd who said she's felt exploited. So it feels like they're all ganging up. Just for me, it feels like they're just doing it to get some money. But you know what? With reality TV shows, like they've come under so much attack recently for not looking after their contestants. And there is that thing where when you're on the show, you're fine, but as soon as you're off, it's like no one cares anymore.
Yeah. And so, I mean, it's the nature of Simon Cowell's business is that he's going to get problems like this, isn't it? Because there will always be people disgruntled and feel hard done by, and maybe justifiably so, but maybe not.
Yeah, it's hard because they provide the entertainment, but a lot of these people afterwards they don't really go on to have music careers, and it's like, who are they?
It's part of the story, though, isn't it? I mean, they're disposable talents. You know, part of the narrative is that they're famous for 5 minutes, and then afterwards they're opening, a convenience store in Romford High Street or something.
If they're lucky.
If they're lucky, yeah.
Exactly,
yeah. I'd love to do
that. They know what they're signing up for, but you know what? We have to see what happens and how this case is going to develop, because there could be more stuff that comes out that we don't even know about yet, which they could exploit about the show or, expose about the show. So...
If there was a competition, I can't believe I'm asking this, between a panda, a mushroom and a robo bunny, who would win?
Panda, all the way. And that's what happened last night with Natalie Imbruglia. She was crowned the Queen of the Masked Singer. So this has been going on for about 2 months to show, and they had like 9 quirky characters all dressed up in costume, and people had to guess who is the celebrity underneath the outfit. Natalie sailed all the way through to the final yesterday with Mark Freely from Westlife and Charlotte Church, who was dressed as a mushroom. So Natalie impressed judges yesterday with her performance of Taylor Swift's Blank Space. All the judges were quite shocked because no one guessed it was her. And, she's quite friends with Davina McCall, Rita. No one knew it was her. It got the most ratings last night on ITV yesterday, and bosses have confirmed it will be back next year.
I watched it last night. I thought it was quite watchable, actually. I thought it was good Saturday night fun.
From that clip, it looks as though Davina didn't know.
No, she didn't. She's
good friends with Natalie. Yeah. She didn't know it was her.
So
That's astonishing, actually.
Natalie's Australian, but throughout the whole thing, she had an American accent. So it was cleverly disguised, but they dropped little hints here and there during the series.
I guessed Catherine Jenkins when it was actually Charlotte Church.
Yeah.
So that was any other kind of opera singer like, I think.
Definitely. But you know what? I think, me and Stephen talking about, like, all throughout the series, like, there was leaks of, like, could it be that person? Yeah. Could it be that person? And then with Charlotte Church, it did come down to either Charlotte or Catherine Jenkins.
Well, interesting. Aidan, what have you got for us this morning? Bit of Six Nations?
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, England are playing today against Italy in the Stadio Olimpico. Their coach, Eddie Jones, has challenged his young team to light up Rome and invoke the spirit of Muhammad Ali when he laid out Sonny Liston on Miami Beach in Florida back in 1964. He wants a degree of ruthlessness. Italy are by far and away the weakest team in the Six Nations. Yes, it's away from home, but Italy have lost 33 matches in a row. They've not won a game at the Six Nations. 33 Six Nations games in a row.
Pretty tough.
Look, it's been a debate for a long time. For years it was the Five Nations when we were kids, and Italy got thrown into it. I mean, look, the results aren't always representative of the performance. They were actually, gave France a little run for their money last week, actually. They may do the same with England this week, but or today, rather, but England expected to go through. And the tournament's kind of widened out and opened out a little bit as of the weekend. Wales managed to beat Scotland 2017. Oh. Scotland won last week. Ireland won last week, but both of those lost this week. If England win today, then that's one win each. France are still out in front, but France is still... They've not left Paris yet. So they've had 2 home games, first of all. They've not won the tournament since 2010. So does the psychological element come into it by the time of the next round of games on February the 26th? We'll have to see.
Aidan, you've got 60 seconds. Run us through the best of the Premier League last night.
Best of the Premier League yesterday. Well, Manchester United was interesting. Another 1-1 draw at home. They were accused by Paul Scholes, their former player on BT, of lacking the desire to chase down their opponents, which you know, is a bit damning because he's basically suggesting that the current crop of players are a little bit lazy and a bit reluctant to pull their weight. The Southampton manager kind of said the same thing, alluded to the same thing. So problems for United there. Is Ronaldo the problem? On Friday, his manager said, well, he doesn't score enough goals. I mean, he scored 803 goals in his career, so it does seem a bit weird to say that. But maybe the problem is with the positions and the tactics. He's maybe unsettling things a little bit.
Yeah, I'm a United fan, and I haven't been overwhelmed by. I've been underwhelmed by Ronaldo. Actually,
have you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I never thought would come out of your mouth.
I know.
Will you two stay? Because we've got some tasting to do of Valentine's food.
Love to, yeah.
Yes?
Yeah.
Absolutely, good.
I've seen the feast, it looks good.
Yeah, the feast does look good, doesn't it? Absolutely. So we're going to tell you all about this amazing Valentine's feast we've got, basically to show you how you can do it really splendidly for less than 20 quid. First of all, though, the weather.
Well, the UK is looking very unsettled as heavy, persistent rain and strong winds spread across the country. And these are the details for you. In the southwest, a very wet morning and the rain will continue through to lunchtime. Drier weather waiting out in the west will arrive later on in the day. For London and the southeast, cloudy as we head towards midday, but it should be mostly dry before turning unsettled this afternoon. Across Wales, a very wet and windy picture of heavy rain, heaviest over the hills and mountains and gales and exposed areas. The rain will break up through the afternoon. In the Midlands, about lunchtime, the rain turns heaviest and most persistent. The winds will strengthen too, making conditions difficult if you're heading out on the road. After a very wet and windy morning, northeastern England should become drier. Some breaks about midday, though there'll still be plenty of rain around and the wind staying strong for a while. Heavy rain pushing across the southern half of Scotland as we head towards lunchtime. Further north, it's going to be drier, sunnier and calmer, albeit with a few showers. Now, after a very wet start in Northern Ireland, the rain will be starting to ease by the afternoon. It's going to take a while to clear completely, and some rain will linger. So the worst of the unsettled weather will clear away by tonight, with clearer skies in the west.
GB News is the UK's home of discussion and debate.
From all perspectives.
To stay up to date on the latest stories,
Make sure that you subscribe to the GB News channel.
Right here on YouTube.
You can watch us live 24/7 across the whole world.
You can also check out exclusive content and catch up on previous episodes of your favourite shows.
Every day, we ask the questions
that you'd ask, so why not add your voice to the conversation in the comments section?
Don't forget to subscribe. We are GB News, Britain's news channel.
Every night at 11 on GB News, we bring you the next day's stories the day before.
It's basically like time travel.
If it's a big story, we'll cover it, guaranteed. But we'll also have some fun along the way.
Big opinions, big laughs. Sometimes big hair.
This is
Headliners, the paper review show that won't send you to sleep like the others will.
11 p.m, 7 nights a week. Join us.
Hello there, I'm Eamon Holmes.
And I'm Isabel Webster.
And we hope you can join us for
Breakfast with Eamon.
And Isabel.
You make me laugh out loud, belly laugh.
Is that important first thing in the morning?
Yeah, absolutely.
And there's me trying to be deadly serious. News is a serious business.
Yeah, I have to rein you in sometimes.
Well, it doesn't stop us laughing at it. It doesn't stop us having an opinion on what's going on.
Yeah.
And it certainly will not stop us reflecting what you think.
Weekdays from 6 to 9:30 on GB News.
I'm Dan Wootton. Join me Monday to Thursday from 9 to 11 for the feistiest and most fun news debate on TV, where free speech reigns. I'll bring you a sharp take on the day's biggest stories, bombshell newsmaker interviews, and A-list guests. And I guarantee you, no spin, no bias, no censorship, and no reason to go to bed. That's Dan Wootton tonight, Monday to Thursdays from 9 on GB News.
"9:34, you're watching and listening to Breakfast with Stephen and Anne live across the UK on your TV and your radio. And the reason I've moved over here is because we have a Valentine's feast heading your way in just a moment, and Anne is setting the table. So as she does that, let's just run you through the latest headlines. And the Prime Minister will leave London this week, insisting he's getting on with the job while facing questions from police investigating alleged lockdown breaches. Number 10 says he'll start the week in Scotland at a manufacturing site before heading to an oncology centre in northwest England. Lord Frost is among a group of senior Tory MPs and peers urging the Prime Minister to reverse the government's ban on fracking as the UK faces an energy crisis. In a joint letter to the PM, the former Cabinet Minister and 29 other Conservatives said it's time to reverse the moratorium. The Mayor of London has pledged to oppose the appointment of a new Metropolitan Police Chief unless they have a robust plan to deal with cultural problems at the force. Writing in The Observer, Sadiq Khan says he's deeply concerned that public trust in the country's biggest force has been shattered by a series of scandals. 7 people have been rescued after a mezzanine floor collapse last night at the Two More Years pub in East London. Ambulance crews treated 13 people, 4 were taken to hospital, 3 have potentially serious injuries. Now, flower prices in Northern Ireland have soared as a result of increased checks on the Irish border. Now, that includes roses, so bad news for those in Northern Ireland hoping to keep their Valentine's Day cheap. Our Northern Ireland reporter, Dookie Beattie, has the latest.
Politics, passion, prices and the protocol. And don't forget the pandemic. The EU's influence knows no bounds. The price of flowers has risen and the paperwork around imports has meant goods now head to the Republic before travelling north. Beth Lunny has ran Saintfield nurseries for years and found with the protocol her former suppliers are now taking a different route.
We would start maybe taking their first load of roses before Christmas. What has happened now is we're not allowed to bring them over. But it turned out I was speaking to one of the lorry drivers who was delivering stuff to me from Holland, and I was asking him how things were going. And he told me that he'd taken a full load of bare root roses down to the Republic of Ireland. He had taken them via one of the Dublin ports from England. So they were able to go in there. We're not allowed to buy them. They were able to go in there. So they went in via from England to the Republic. They went to a nursery in Kildare. They were potted up, and then we had to buy them that way. From there, we weren't able to get roses anywhere else.
Tracy Burrows owns Floral Creations and is facing similar problems and finds it all so very frustrating.
Since even the word Brexit was even mentioned, prices have just increased, like beyond what we could ever have foreseen. You know, like sometime one week you could go in and buy, you know, a bunch of something from the wholesalers and it's one price, and then like 2 days later you could go in and there could be a 60% difference in the prices. Obviously, whenever it comes to peak seasons as well, it's not the florists making all the money. Prices have just jumped so much, and we have no control over that, and it's just soul destroying whenever you're buying your flowers from the suppliers.
In the words of Brian Ferry, what is the price of love, and will we still be expecting roses on Valentine's Day?
He never did, so I'm not expecting them. Okay.
I don't know. I think I might, for I love her so much.
No, I would die of shock. I think he'd been up to something if he came over with roses.
Definitely. I'm worth more than money.
I knew I'd find an advantage to the protocol somewhere. Saving money, plastic flowers. Who ever said romance was dead? Doogie Beattie, GB News, County Down.
Oh, he's a bit tight, I think. He's a bit tight there, plastic roses. Squeeze back in, Aidan, come on. Because we're getting all loved up.
Oh, we are.
As we've been discussing throughout the programme, tomorrow is Valentine's Day.
Yeah, now we've already spoken to a relationship expert, so we've solved all those problems. But now we're going to talk food. We're going to talk particularly about the amazing meal deals that you can get from most of the supermarkets. You could just buy them now. They're really easy to cook, and most of them sort of just warm up or something. But you can get a really good meal for two, Valentine's themed, for less than 20 quid. Actually, around 15. And we've got a few to show you. Where shall we start? Shall we start with this one at the end?
That's good.
No, we're starting at the wrong end. Hang on.
No, it's all right. They'll get there.
We'll get there. If you get... This is the one I wanted to talk about first. This is the Waitrose one.
I'll pour you a glass, Anne.
So if I tell you, this is 20 quid for everything there, right? So you get, with most of them, you get a starter, a main, a dessert, and then either a box of chocolates or a glass of bubbly. So here at the Waitrose one, you've got the smoked salmon parcels as your starter. You've got vegan beet Wellington. That's what that is. Can you see?
That's an interesting creation.
Yeah, actually, move the roses, then you'll be able to see them better. There. A vegan beet Wellington with a sort of salad with it. And then you've got a dessert here, which these rather scrummy-looking things, which are Heston Blumenthal's sort of fizzy sort of chocolatey things. They've got a name, but I can't find it now. They're Bucks Fizz swirls.
Oh.
And the wine... you fancy that. The wine that comes with that one is a glass of bubbly. Can you pass it? It's that glass of bubbly over there. Here? Yeah.
Oh, that one.
That looks rather nice.
No, this
It's that one.
This one. No, this one, actually, this is the one I can drink, because this is Thompson & Scott Naughty. It's 0%.
Oh. There you go. It's organic and fizzy and lovely, which is what you want.
Double win.
I buy this at home for Christmas.
So just have a look at that. That's the Waitrose one. That, as I said, is £20. And you get all of that, which actually would be a really nice meal for two.
Include the card as well?
No, it doesn't. That's extra. That's extra.
It's lovely. Do you want a sip?
We move to the middle one.
Free.
Let's move to the middle one. And if I just read from the card there, this is the Marks and Spencer's one in the middle. They're doing lots of ads at the moment saying, it's not just Valentine's, it's Marks and Spencer's Valentine's. So their starter is, we've chosen, you get a choice of lots of different things. Their starter here is prawn cocktails.
Oh, yes.
Then you've got a chicken pie with a lovely heart on it. It says, I pie you.
I pie you.
Yeah. And then dessert. The dessert is profiteroles there.
I've been pied a few times on Valentine's.
I bet you have.
Yeah, I bet you have.
And the wine there is a Prosecco Rosé, which actually looks wonderful for Valentine's.
You've got some there,
I've got there. It has got that slight rosé tinge to it, which is
Have you got
really
a glass?
beautiful.
How much is this whole set again, Anne?
And that Marks and Spencer's one is
There you go. Thank you very much.
20. That's 20 as well.
So this
For all of that.
alcohol?
And that is really lovely.
Alcohol. Oh, it is, OK. In that case, I'll fill it up.
Stop talking.
Sorry.
How much was that one?
20. So that's 20 again.
Right.
Waitrose and M&S are 20. The one at the end there is Asda. And I don't know about you, but I think you get an awful lot for £15 there.
Oh, crabless croquettes.
That's the starter.
That's vegan.
Oh, yeah.
British steak and red wine pies.
Classic, very hearty.
And they do look decent pies.
They are, very lovely.
And the dessert, which looks amazing,
Now, this is
sticky toffee melting heart.
And you are meant to take this very sticky toffee sauce, and you're meant to, you see the heart in the middle?
Yeah.
You're meant to pour that on top.
And that's 20 seconds in the microwave, Anne, isn't it?
20 seconds in the microwave.
Oh, wow.
Oh, look at that.
You see?
That would definitely melt someone's
I see.
heart away.
Oh,
It's lovely, isn't it?
On the side. And then you get a bottle of that Sauvignon Blanc over there.
Yeah.
Which Anne's son had a go at last night. One of them. And the chocolates as well.
No, the chocolate. It's either chocolates or fizzy.
Right.
It's one or the other. But that's £15, the Asda one. And there are lots of supermarkets that are doing them for £15, and they look absolutely scrumptious. What would you go for?
Do you have a favourite, Anne?
Do you know, I think I'd probably go for the Asda.
I think
you get more bang for your buck.
I quite like this one, the first one.
I like the Marks and Spencer one,
like
the
profiteroles.
profiteroles.
Oh, well, there you go.
Are you hinting that you actually want a bit of a taste?
I do want a bit of a taste. I think this is the early Valentine's Day action I'll be getting.
Well, I'm not sure.
All game.
Pass us a knife, because I want to see what the pies are like when they're cut. Because I'm hoping that I'm going to go around the front. Is that all right, Mr. Director? Yeah.
Go on.
Cheers.
Cheers.
I was going to go for one of these pies and see what happens.
So those are the...
See if they're as good as they should be when you open them up. Because they've got the lovely hearts on the top.
These, I have to say, if you're listening on the radio, you are missing a treat right now. But, I mean, this food does look, really nice. Decent quality and plenty of it, which I think is the key. You don't want those meals where you're hungry at the end of it. So you really want to get on the app when you're not on the radio and having a good look at all of this, because it does look fantastic.
And this is just a selection of just 3 of our major supermarkets, but they're...
Oh yeah, get stuck in.
There are all of the major supermarkets seem to be doing it.
Yeah.
I just want to have a little go at the Beat Wellington because, being a veggie,
Very tasty.
Yeah?
This is really good.
Yeah, that's good. That's the Asda one, you see. Yeah. I think that's particularly good value.
And it is that sort of thing where you think, for 15 quid, you can't go wrong.
It makes you think,
oh, look.
You even go to a restaurant.
Look, I don't know if you can see that.
Hundreds of pounds.
Look at that Beat Wellington. That looks
that
very,
Beat Wellington.
very interesting.
Well, it's a lot of beetroot in it. I'll give
Well,
it that.
yeah.
But it does look very, very nice. Well, am I all right standing up? Let's talk to a celebrity expert, should we? The chef Aldo Zilli, who joins us now. Good to see you this morning.
Aldo.
I don't know if you've been able to see any of this, Aldo, but I mean, what do you make of it? It's not bad for a few quid, is it?
Absolutely not. Valentine's Day is becoming like Christmas Day. Every supermarket is trying to do something amazing, and for the price, I have to be honest. If you can't go out, or you haven't got a babysitter, or you want to do something a bit, on the inexpensive side, then why not? But you can't beat going to a restaurant crowded with people, 2 tables of 2 everywhere. And that's what happens every Valentine's in our industry. The hospitality industry has been suffering so much. So I think this year we are busier than we've ever been. We've been fully booked for tomorrow night since after Christmas. And people are really going for it this year. And why not? Here in Surrey, where we are, Casa Zilli, people come and they book an igloo, they go outside, but you get me cooking for you.
Yeah, that's worth a few quid. So what's on the menu for your lot tomorrow then?
So tomorrow night, we've been running this menu since Friday, and it's really worked actually, because people have stretched, because it's a Monday night, Valentine's, people have stretched the weekend, if you like. So Friday night, up until Monday night. We're not normally open on a Monday, so tomorrow night we're open, obviously. We've got 3 seatings. We're starting at 1 o'clock in the day. I don't know, people may not go to work tomorrow, obviously. So the menu tomorrow includes things like, I made some ravioli with some shrimps and scallops. It's all aphrodisiac food. We've got all these lobsters here. We've got a dessert with strawberries. We've got champagne, prosecco. And, we've got spaghetti with lobster. We've got loads and loads of different chocolate desserts. And then with coffee, we give you all different chocolate truffles to enjoy. And, aphrodisiac food, chilies. We've got chilies going everywhere. It's Valentine's, so why not celebrate?
You think, Aldo, there really is such a thing as aphrodisiac food, though, or do we only think there is? I mean, do some foods really make you feel a bit more sexy?
Like oysters.
Truffle does my job.
Does it? Look, you've got to get some.
Look, I show you. I just bought this. This is £150, this bit of truffle here.
Ooh.
Okay?
Wow.
It smells like old socks.
Yeah,
and,
that's why I can't.
An aphrodisiac.
Exactly, I can't understand why. What will you do with that, if you don't mind me asking?
That's gonna be grated on pasta. I'll tell you what, it really works for me. So in October, when white truffle comes out in Italy, October to December, it's about £4,000 a kilo. I always invest in 100 grams.
100
That's what I'm
grams.
going to say to you, Anne.
Yeah, that sounds wonderful.
That's still a lot of money.
Yeah.
Look, Aldo, for those people who can't get out, or in the countryside or something, and don't want to venture far tomorrow, what's a good sort of thing you can make at home? What's something romantic that you can make yourself?
Well, unless you want to do what you've just shown it on television, that you don't have to make anything. Supermarkets have done it for you. Unless you want to do that, invest in some really nice meat. Or if you're vegetarian, obviously vegetarian. But if you're vegan, then again, go for the vegan options. There's a lot of vegan cheese, vegan options and vegetarian options on the supermarkets. But for me, Valentine's has to be celebrated with something like lobster, something like filet steak, really, really nice ingredients. A nice ingredient and just cook at home, and follow my recipes from my books.
The thing is, Aldo, that Italians are renowned for being romantic. Is it something in the water? Is it
in the
weather?
wine?
Yeah. What is it that makes Italians romantic?
Well, last night we had a proposal in our place here. Someone on its knees, proposed, and they said that because I'm Italian and because they came to an Italian place, an Italian home, they wanted to do it the Italian way, the Romeo and Juliet way. So there you go. We are Italian, we are romantics, and we are going to carry on being that way. That's probably why Italian restaurants are so popular on Valentine's. You just reminded me.
What about you yourself? You're working tomorrow, obviously. Do you ever get a chance to have a romantic dinner yourself?
Yeah.
And you know what? This is my wife's idea to open tomorrow night. So maybe that's telling me something, because every Valentine's I forget to get a card and roses. So because of the restaurant, because we're at home here now, so I got these for tomorrow night.
Oh, good. Yes, excellent.
Wow. Good. Beautiful.
So you're an old romantic as well. You were talking about having had a proposal the other night. Do you think you'll probably get many people proposing tomorrow? And do they take you into their confidence to make it special?
Let me tell you, if I do, I'm going to film them and then we can show it on Tuesday.
Yes.
Yeah, that would be good. That would be great. Only if they say yes, Aldo.
Yeah, it would be a bit embarrassing if they did.
Well, there is that, I suppose. Yes, I mean, depends what the answer is, but normally it's yes, isn't it?
Yes, hopefully, yeah. You gauge it well, don't you? But people do all sorts of extraordinary things, don't they? Like putting an engagement ring in the bottom of a bottle of wine. And until you swallow it, you don't know that you're getting a proposal. Have you ever seen anything like that happen at any of your restaurants, Aldo?
I have. As you know, I had 7 restaurants in London, so I've seen it all, basically.
Many, I bet you have.
Most of the time, there's a lot of arguments going on Valentine's night. I think people are forced to go out with each other.
Yeah.
It's a bit like Christmas, and there's a lot of arguments going on. And we had one Friday night. The guy left, went out. I thought, where's he gone? And he got in the car and left.
Oh no!
I'm like, and this poor lady is like sitting there. I mean, they weren't young Valentines. They were, past the sell-by date Valentines, I think. For me, Valentines, it's young people. They go out, they hold hands, and me and my wife are not going to go do that anymore. It's not what we do. But it's a romantic thing, so everybody should do it. Don't get me wrong. But sometimes that happens, people leave each other on Valentine's. There's a lot of divorces on Valentine's. So it's not just roses.
No.
Oh, you've brought my mood right down, Aldo.
No, it's a high-pressure day, isn't it? But I tell you what, it's a high-pressure day, but it's good for business, and it's great that it's yet another step forward into what I suppose we're trying to call normal, yeah?
Absolutely. It's the hospitality industry has been on its knees for 2 years, and it's about time that we're looking the right way, and that's the only way is up now, and we're going to hopefully come back to normal, as you said, and people are going out to eat and drink and enjoy it, and that's what we do, and that's what I've been doing for 40 years, and I've had the worst 2 years of my life. Trying to invent other things to do. So now we're back. I've got restaurants again in Birmingham. We're back in the industry. I couldn't be any happier. I should be putting my feet up, but instead I'm cooking more now than I've ever cooked in my life.
Are you working today?
Sorry?
Are you working today?
I'm working for lunch today. We got full hours at lunchtime.
Oh, Lord.
again, you know, it seemed to stretch. Sunday lunch, normally we close, and we're fully booked for lunch today. So, and it's all tables at 2, so it must be a Valentine thing.
Oh, it's romance is in the air, definitely.
People are desperate to get out, I think. Alda, really good to see you this morning. Thank you very much indeed. Have a busy couple of days.
Yes, that's the best wish we can wish you, I think.
Definitely.
Thank you, Aldo.
I wish I was there with you with all that food and drink you got there.
Yeah.
Lovely
Thank
stuff.
you. That's brilliant.
Do you know what I want to know? I want someone, I can't do it, but someone to dive into a dessert.
Oh, this one, you see, this is the Heston Blumenthal one. We could just as well we couldn't say that, Valdi.
That's type 1 diabetics. Can we have it?
That looks.
Oh God, I thought you're the same as me, aren't you?
No, but we can. You and I can.
More for me and Anne.
Bucks Fizz, chocolatey, sparkly things.
Oh, that looks
fizzy.
nice. Where?
Fizzy. There's a knife.
Boat with it, aren't we?
Yeah, there's a knife. You've got a knife there.
Oh, there we go.
Cut into. I just want to see what happens when you cut into one. I don't know if anyone can.
They are very glittery.
They are
very glittery.
You're stuck on the radio this
morning.
morning.
They're nice.
Very glittery and fancy, very mousse-like.
Oh. Very mousse-like.
Well, you're going to have to get your fingers in a bit, I think,
Yeah,
on that one.
I'm going to go in.
Oh, it's got like...
Can you see this? A
Here we
gooey
go.
middle. Is it? It's a gooey middle.
Oh,
You can catch up on all of these on the GB News app.
10 out of 10.
10 out of 10.
Well, in that case, I'm having a bit. Thank you very much.
Quite right. Yeah, because do check it out, because it's good to know where, especially if you haven't done your planning yet, quite where you can get all this delicious nosh from.
What do you think, Anne?
Oh, it's beautiful.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
So what's the set?
Really good.
What's in the middle? What's the centre
Like
part?
orange.
Is it
Yes,
orange
it's
or
very
lemon?
orangey and slightly fizzy, and it is like Bucks Fizz.
Make us jealous, Steve.
That is stunning. That's one of the Waitrose ones. So just to remind you, the Waitrose is 20 quid, the M&S was 15, the Asda was 15. There are a lot more in practically every supermarket you come across. Really good meal deals for Valentine's.
Yes, have a lovely Valentine's Day and enjoy it tomorrow, and we'll see you
next weekend.
Friday. Well, the UK is looking very unsettled as heavy, persistent rain and strong winds spread across the country. And these are the details for you. In the southwest, a very wet morning and the rain will continue through to lunchtime. Drier weather waiting out in the west will arrive later on in the day. For London and the southeast, cloudy as we head towards midday, but it should be mostly dry before turning unsettled this afternoon. Across Wales, a very wet and windy picture of heavy rain, heaviest over the hills and mountains and gales and exposed areas. The rain will break up through the afternoon. In the Midlands, about lunchtime, the rain turns heaviest and most persistent. The winds will strengthen too, making conditions difficult if you're heading out on the road. After a very wet and windy morning, northeastern England should become drier. Some breaks about midday, though there'll still be plenty of rain around and the wind staying strong for a while. Heavy rain pushing across the southern half of Scotland as we head towards lunchtime. Further north, it's going to be drier, sunnier and calmer, albeit with a few showers. Now, after a very wet start in Northern Ireland, the rain will be starting to ease by the afternoon. It's going to take a while to clear completely, and some rain will linger. So the worst of the unsettled weather will clear away by tonight, with clearer skies in the west.
GB News is the UK's home of discussion and debate.
From all perspectives.
To stay up to date on the latest stories,
Make sure that you subscribe to the GB News channel.
Right here on YouTube.
You can watch us live 24/7 across the whole world.
You can also check out exclusive content and catch up on previous episodes of your favourite shows.
Every day, we ask